of the Whatever podcast, and I got somebody with me that if they were to offer doing a debate, they wouldn't duck out like someone else in the comments in one of my last videos regarding Sneako. Welcome back again, Aceman Analysis.
Hey, thank you so much, whatever kid, for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it was fun what we did last year, so I figured let's do a part two to this.
Definitely, definitely. I'm ready.
Yeah, so the thing that has been trending on for the last couple, or not the last couple, just last week, and it's even gone more crazy because I texted Ace Man last week, last Friday, when the Instagram banned for a man known as Andrew Tate, or I'm surprised no one has said this, but I say he's like a Dollar Tree common.
I never heard of that one. That's a good one.
I'm surprised no one has thought about that because the first time I seen this guy, I was thinking this dude looks like Common, and if anybody that doesn't know who Common is, that's how I know your age somewhat. I know you're definitely not in your 20s if you don't know who Common is.
He does look like Common, definitely with like his bald head and just even his face too. That's actually a good one.
Yeah, he's Common, but if Common was British and a red pillar, that's what he would be. Yeah.
I never heard of that. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
He's kind of like LeVar Ball a little bit too. He kind of looks like him a little bit. If LeVar Ball and Alex Jones had a baby,
oh no.
I see that a little bit too. Yeah.
Yeah, so Andrew Tate, first off, it started with him getting banned on Instagram, and now he's got banned on all major social media platforms. Now he's or that's how he's actually been posting his podcast. It's through Rumble.
Hmm.
I didn't even know that. I was thinking where, because you'll be seeing it. You
Yeah.
probably had it whatever on your YouTube Shorts, or I'm on TikTok, and it's just it could be back to back to back Andrew Tate clips. And I'm wondering who's providing him the platform? Is it on his own thing, or is he a guest? But the thing is, so apparently I just found out. So he's had several episodes of these podcasts with his brother Tristan on Rumble, and that's where he's been getting some of these clips. And then some of these other ones is from his YouTube that's now deleted, and then others were from interviews he's done. So that's basically how Andrew Tate's been getting his word out there, and he's been known for his red pill ideologies, and I say his takes on women are like something that my great grandfathers would probably agree with what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, he is quite an interesting guy. Let's put it that way. I think that he is someone who is clearly like from another like time personally. I think that he's someone with his views and how like aggressive he comes off as. He seems like he would definitely be from maybe the turn of like when this country was born, so to speak. Like just his
Yeah,
views and like how aggressive he is. I would say he's definitely from a way like other time, like centuries ago, with some of the things that he says. And also, he has like a lot of his followers, like people who do Hustlers University. One of their main like tasks, I guess, through that like education program is to like share his content on all platforms. So like that's how he took over TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter even was through like all his like minions basically
wow.
sharing. And that's how it came up on like everyone's feed. Most young people probably heard about Andrew Tate somewhere around this year. I first heard about him probably in February. That was through Alba and Preach, like doing a reaction to his stuff. But like even my little cousins, like my cousins who are like in their teens, I mean they're not that little, but they heard about Andrew Tate through him like dominating TikTok. Like they started seeing his stuff popping up in their feed, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" And yeah, he basically took over. Like just the whole spread of his stuff was like a wildfire. And that was interesting that you told me it was on Rumbler. Was that where his podcast was on?
Yeah, I'm double checking that right now.
Rumbler?
Yeah, Rumble.
Rumble. Okay, I never heard of that. But wow, I didn't even know. That was kind of cool to find out. But yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, all his probably all the clips, all the crazy stuff that he said, those went viral. And that's where he was getting a lot of attention through that. Yeah, he's quite an interesting figure. Like if they were going to give Person of the Year award, I think they could give it to him because of how controversial he is.
Yeah, definitely. This is the thing about me with Andrew Tate. Like his takes, like, oh, I'm the top G. Women are property. But yeah, his takes like that, and then the another infamous one. Oh, if a woman, my girl has an OnlyFans, then I have to check the money.
Wow.
What? That's her. That's her stuff. I mean, if you have an issue, because to me, that seems like you have an issue with your girl doing OnlyFans. If you're gonna be saying, "Oh, the money she makes, that's now mine." That to me, that seems like he has an issue with that. And I don't. To it's not. I'm not gonna shun you if you're someone that has a problem with a girl having OnlyFans, or if you're a guy that is cool with your girl doing OnlyFans. It's a case by case scenario. It just depends on the people you're dealing with in the relationship. But if he really has an issue with it to that point where he feels that the girl needs to give him the money that she earned from her product, just break up with her. That's what I got saying with that take. If you're really that bothered by what she's doing by doing OnlyFans, just break up with her, because there's going to be other women that won't do that. And besides that, with the ideologies that Andrew has, that's probably not a woman he would want to go with. An OnlyFans girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that he comes off as very insecure at moments. Definitely with some of his takes on females and like yeah, OnlyFans and yeah, like even like the money situation too of saying like he would have to take the money. He comes off as very insecure with a lot of his takes. And again, he seems like the type of guy though that would he wouldn't really like want that anyways in a woman. So I don't know why he would even talk about that in the first
Yeah.
place. But yeah, he comes off as very insecure. He comes off as a someone who's like traditional beyond traditional, I guess. He has a lot of takes that I would say even people who are traditional would say that goes a little bit too far. And yeah, that I would say most of the reason why he's even popular, well, the reason why he's like so controversial and why he got banned was probably because of a lot of the misogynist things that he said.
That's the thing about Andrew Tate to me. Even though he'll be saying some things I think are goofy,
Mhm.
I still want to watch this guy. And
Mm.
there's a part of me that actually wants to like this guy. There's just something about the dude that makes me want to like him, even though his takes are just something else.
Yeah, it's kind of like that for me too. Like there are some takes that he says that I'll say, okay, that actually seems like it makes sense. Like he talks about I mean, he doesn't just talk about um like females and like male nature, but he also talks about like he talks about politics sometimes. He'll discuss like societies. He talked a lot about like the demise of the Western society. And he kind of has like a lot of like story time videos too. And he has like videos on like overcoming things like whatever obstacle goes through your way. And he gives like some sound advice for some of his videos. It's more of the videos where he has these radical takes that makes him, seem like an extremist, which makes a lot of people question whether they should keep watching him. And he has that like personality where he's unique. You don't see too many influencers who are like big into manhood and masculinity, talk about all these things and, be really show offy. So he gives you like that entertainment value that, some other people maybe are just boring. He stands out. And I think his personality makes it so that, wow, he's actually interesting and you want to keep hearing what he says. It's not like you go on and watch a influencer who's boring and maybe has little to no personality who, will say a few things that are cool and whatnot, but after a while you're like, okay, there's another I can find 10 other of these types of like influencers online. But Tate, he's different because I think he has like a different like energy. He's also like very entertaining at times. He's like interesting too because he has a lifestyle that many people will never see, and that's what also like makes it so that he's like attractive to listeners.
So how much of his internet persona you think is just to get attention and just to get the clicks?
Ooh. I've thought about this a lot, this question. There's sometimes where I say, okay, maybe he's doing this because maybe the fighting career, the kickboxing career is just not paying the bills. And he's retired now as a kickboxer. He's like mid 30s. But I was thinking, is this clout chasing in the 20s now? Is this what it looks like? Because clout chasing back in the 2010s was a little bit different where I mean, he's kind of like Lil Tay in a few ways. In the ways where like he flexes off his wealth and
Yeah.
his money. He has sort of similarities to like Lil Tay, but he's a little bit different too. But it's more of his like hot takes that give it a weight. And also, I know I've seen videos. I don't know if you've seen like the videos where like Andrew Tate breaks character. There's been some videos like that. And I think that out of percentage, I'd say maybe if I was going to give it an exaggeration rate, I'd say he's probably exaggerating probably 20 to 30%. I'd say 70% he's like real true, but he's also like 20 to 30% I would say he's exaggerating.
That does seem like a reasonable percentage. That does seem like around the ballpark about what I would think he's trolling. I would say it's like NWA back in the day because you had like Easy E, who was the guy that was really doing the things that they were rapping about,
Mhm.
and then you had the rest of the guys. So people really were confused because you got the guy that really was legit. So it's like mixing the lines between fantasy and reality, and
Mhm.
that's what it seems to me with the Andrew Tate. And what do you have to say about his ban? Do you agree with the decision for him to get banned?
I think banning is always like extreme. I've never really been a fan of like deplatforming people unless they really truly are like hateful. Like if they have hate speech and they're specifically targeting people and wanting violence against them, then I'm in favor of a ban. I think that it's kind of I saw it coming. Like I definitely saw that this was going to be inevitable once he was starting to say some violent thing. Well, he had a few takes against women that I knew would be controversial, and with like the mass reporting that you can do on these social media platforms, and I think it's also the pressure that you put on these execs. Um, it was just a matter of time. Now, do I think the banning was right? I'm on the fence because I think just banning anyone, deplatforming them could lead to more problems in the future.
Yeah,
Because I think with deplatforming people, they could claim it's like a First Amendment, like their First Amendment rights are being violated. And they could even like that could further their narrative and say like, oh yeah, these people are evil, and could further divide. Um, I think I saw it coming, and I really said, okay, he's getting popular. Well, he's getting all this like uh a lot of people are like reporting his stuff because of some of the things that he says, but then there's other things that he says that most people would say, oh, they have no problem with. Um, so I'm on the fence. I think that it was only a matter of time for him to get banned. But do I agree with the banning? Yes and no. I think that people, if they were really bothered by him, they could always just ignore him.
true.
But it's that fear, I think, that that hate that he has and some of his ideologies. It's the fear that he's going to spread that. But again, when you have like hateful figures that have been deplatformed, they'll find ways to still reach their audiences, their most devout people. So I kind of agree with it in a way, but I also don't agree with it. So I'm on the fence with that because I think that it could lead down a rabbit hole of saying, okay, maybe this person said something too, deplatform them, and it could lead to a sticky situation. But for the things that he has said that have been, I would say, somewhat violent, I would say he does fit that um, criteria to be like deplatformed and banned.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I
I know.
haven't.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I kind of ran around the question, but I feel like on the fence with it.
Yeah. What can you remember? One of the violent things because I haven't heard anything like that. For me, it's not even like. Of course, there's the women takes, but the ones that I dislike the most from him, his takes, is ones regarding suicide. That's the ones I have the biggest problem with. So, do you remember what he said or paraphrase?
I
Because
thought he said something
I don't
about
know.
like, you know what? Maybe I'm getting it mixed up with a video that I watched. I think there was a video. Actually, there was a video of him, I think, beating a woman. This is like,
Oh yeah,
so that was one of the things, and I think that at first I thought that he was talking about it, but it was actually like the video and also the accusations he has and his like brother has. But I those haven't been proven in court yet, so we can't really talk about that. But
yeah,
there are like articles out there about some of the shady things that he has done, and I think that like that video that just came out, like I saw a couple of news articles about it recently, so this has been within the past week. This could have also been the final straw too. And if this video, which I'm pretty sure is online somewhere, if his like followers figure that out, they might look up to him and say, "Oh, this is Tate approves this, so we have to." They might be influenced by this video too. So there's that video that recently came out. I guess there's been a few articles. I don't want to speak too much on it. I don't know too much about it.
yeah. You brought that up because this is what I was hearing. There was this girl that you were saying that, and people were saying that he was being this girl, but this girl, I don't know about like the allegations and all that. I'm not gonna say whether he's guilty or not because I can't say for sure on
Mhm.
that. But with the girl that got supposedly got beat up, she clarified that it was just like on some weird like sexual kind of activity.
Okay, okay.
That's what the ex girlfriend actually said that. You know what was weird? I There was this lady that he did an interview with,
Mhm,
and she was telling about her experiences with Andrew Tate.
mhm.
And to me, it felt like it kind of goes against what he says or against his persona because she was saying, "Oh, he was such a gentleman. He didn't give me any creepy vibes or anything like that." So I feel it's real interesting that
Hmm.
she said that, and then you see the wild takes he has. So me, when it comes to what I think about Andrew Tate's ban, I don't think he should get banned honestly because just look at the people I've dissed.
Mhm.
They definitely deserve to get banned. Like a Zoe Laverne, for example. She's
Oh
literally
yeah.
on camera, I think a couple of times actually. She's a 19-year-old girl kissing a 13-year-older, a
That's
seventh
unacceptable.
grader.
That has to be, yeah, she has to be kicked off. Does she still
She has everything.
she's still on TikTok?
She's on everything still.
Oh my goodness.
So that's kind of like where my take on this whole situation with him getting banned because those allegations and I don't know because Sneako he's biased. There's a bias there
Mhm.
but he was saying when I was watching his live streams he was saying that the girl with the whole allegations of him like kidnapping.
Yeah.
He was saying that the girl came over to him and his brother's house, and the boyfriend of this girl was calling her, and then she made up this story to avoid him knowing that she was cheating on him. That's supposedly. I'm just saying. I'm not saying if that's the true version of it or not. I'm just saying that's what I heard from Sneako. But granted, it is Sneako, aka the wannabe Andrew Tate. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much I could take it, how seriously I could take what he's saying. But that's why I've heard about when it comes to like those allegations. But I don't think he should get the deplatform, because you still got these people on there, like I just mentioned, Zola Verne. Ghetto ASMR, he got banned on YouTube, but he's still on TikTok, and he's hitting up minors.
That's you know you know what? You make a good point. I think that since I was on the fence with it, I think I did say he should get banned, but now that I think about it, I'm gonna take that back and I don't think he should be banned. Um I think that the reasoning as to why is because, well, A, like I didn't know the backstory behind that like video with him like supposedly hitting his girlfriend. I didn't know anything like the backstory behind it. I mean, I just saw these headlines and I heard about it
Yeah,
through like different social media things. And, some people don't really have the right information. And some people are like purposely spreading disinformation with the intent to like further their narrative. So, there's two sides to every story. And I don't know like his side, or it's not even been determined in court yet. So there hasn't even been like legal things with that. So I think that now I probably will probably say he shouldn't have been banned, just because of that. And yeah, I keep on forgetting like that some of these people who have done horrible things still have accounts, still have platforms to do whatever they please on the internet, which is scary. And it shows you
yeah,
that I think it really shows you that if you don't focus on, calling them out, then you'll never, have them banned or whatever. And it's also comes down to like who has more of the supporters anyways. Because if there's just a few people saying, "Oh, this person," like if you don't hold people accountable, if there's like limited people that hold someone accountable, then that person that should be held accountable will just be let go and continue doing what they do without facing any repercussions for for their previous actions. And I think with the case with Tate, he has so many haters that it was just a matter of time. I think that people would succeed in getting him banned.
yeah. And the thing also, aside from what I've mentioned, I feel that it makes it even worse, because we're already in a time where people that have different opinions from each other, it gets hostile.
Mhm.
Like if you're a right winger and I'm a left winger, there's gonna be some hostility in there, especially when it's on the internet, because then people just go into these comment wars, not really trying to hear out the other side. It's just more so I'm trying to own you. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get that W on you, as opposed to hearing out what the other person has to say on that. And that doesn't help when you're banning a guy that has unpopular opinions considering the society we live in, and then you're gonna ban him because of his takes. I think his takes are trash. There's a good portion of his takes that are trash, but just because I think they're trash doesn't, to me, justify him getting banned on all of these major platforms because of that.
Mhm. Yeah, that is definitely true. Yeah, I think that we need to learn how to. I think as a society, especially like in the US and other countries where there is like like there's a clear divide on the political spectrum, I think people need to understand that everyone's going to have their own opinion and they should be entitled to their own opinion. And just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean that it's okay for you to say, okay, let's just eliminate them. let's not have them have
Yeah.
a voice because they're irrelevant to me, but their voice still matters, somewhere around the lines. Even if you don't agree with anything that they say, I am still a firm believer that everyone is entitled to their own opinion and should have their opinion. And it's wrong for things like that to happen.
Yeah. And I remember back in fourth grade, they teach you about, or they taught me in fourth grade at least, about the concept of having an opinion. And it's just like nowadays, what? An opinion? You got me triggered. You have a
Mhm,
different opinion than me? Are you serious?
mhm. Yeah, that's crazy. I think it just shows that there is some truth to um, how like intolerant some people are and how they don't want
Yeah.
to hear other people's opinions, how that could lead to a society falling apart. Now, I think it's going to take a while, but if there's further divide, somewhere along the lines, something else is going to happen and that whole society will get conquered. And that's the scariest thing. And people need to wake up and, put their differences aside and, just respect one another. I think that's the most important lesson out of this whole predicament.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna pull a Sneako for a second. I'm gonna actually turn on my camera for a second. I'm gonna turn it back off, but I'm just gonna be acting like Sneako for a second, but doing my own twist to it. You guys need to wake up. You need to wake up. You can't be idolizing guys like Andrew Tate. They don't know you. You're just a dollar sign to them. So stop idolizing people that you do not know. Idolize people. Wake up. Stop being a bot, man. Wake up. You gotta make people role models that are actually in your life. So wake up. Get out of the matrix, bro.
That was really accurate, man. Wow. Yeah, that whole Sneeko get out of the matrix, that has been a thing that I have heard a lot now. Like people refer to society as a matrix, from the movie, and that whole red pill comes up
Yeah.
because the red pill's like the alternative universe, and it's ever all the truths that the blue pillars don't want to hear. But yeah, that's an interesting narrative for them to have. Um, what do you think of this whole red pill, blue pill?
I
And
think
then
it's
there's
all stupid.
you think it's
I think
stupid?
it, I think all this red pill, blue pill stuff is stupid. I think all this, even the masculinity stuff, I think that's just all stupid because I feel people. It's like what I said on my Sneako video: to each their own. That's just my philosophy in life. I feel people overcomplicate things. I feel this is how it should be. Me, I consider myself like a nihilist. Not like a nihilist where it's everything's pointless. So screw life. I'm more like an optimistic nihilist where I don't think there is a meaning to life, but just because I don't think there's a meaning to life doesn't mean that we can't enjoy life while we're here living. So I just think all of that is just stupid. And besides that, don't we got don't we got an issue with drugs? Don't we got a whole thing of narrative people saying, "Oh, rappers are influencing kids to do drugs." So I just find it interesting. Why are we saying pill this, pill that?
Hmm. Yeah, that's the pill image is kind of weird. Um, the whole drug thing. I think it's more of a when you take that pill, your whole mindset shifts. Like your whole behaviors, they change, everything changes, and it's from that those um side effects from the pill that makes you become a new person with this new color ideology.
Yeah. So what do you think about what Sneakers become?
Yeah, he that's interesting because I didn't really I have watched Sneako off and on these past few years. I think I started seeing some of his videos way back when he was doing interviews with people on the subway. And he's always had those videos where he just goes around, he'll ask questions. Like he had, I think one of his videos was my 20th birthday or 21st birthday, and it was him just questioning having kind of a lot of questions about life. questioning like the trajectory of his life and what society should tell us. So he's always been like a thinker. Even like when he
Yeah.
was 14, I saw a video recently that resurfaced of Sneako when he was like 14, 15. He was talking about like politics and social and economic things, which is wild because I didn't really know. I wasn't familiar with Sneako. I only started watching him maybe like 3, 4 years ago when I started seeing some of his videos. But to see him go to like red pill or like become a person for the red pill, I think it's more from like his curious nature that led him down to this like red pill person, and also him just seeing that, well, these red pill creators are people that profess like this new alternative like reality. These people are their videos are popping off, so maybe I can get some like clout off of it too. So I think it's that as well. He sees that it's growing. There's different areas of YouTube that have definitely grown in these past couple years. He saw the rise of Tate and he said, "You know what? Maybe I want to mimic that." And I think those influences led him to make more content based on like all these like different subjects.
Yeah. For me, I I found out about Sneako. It was late 19. It was senior year. Yeah, first year of my, or not first year, but first semester of my senior year. I remember, and I don't. Funny enough, I think it was because I think it, I found one of his videos because there was a girl in one of my classes.
Mhm,
I don't know how the connection came over there, but I was liking what he was saying because he's around the same age as us, and then
mhm.
I just went more into his stuff, into like his, I guess you people call them video essays, or
Yeah.
where he's reflecting on life, and like the video "Depression's Not a Meme," and
Mhm.
then I actually mentioned about this video when I was doing commentary on Sneako's review of Cuties. I
Oh yeah.
mentioned this. I mentioned that video. In that video, when I was talking about Cuties, I referenced it. But it was about astrology, like the girls that talk about, oh my, I'm a Capricorn or whatever. I think that's stupid too.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's how I found out about Sneako, and and same here. I'll be on and off with his content, but it's just disappointing to see the path that he's gone on. And there's a reason I say he's a right wing H3 because people loved H3 from like a period of, I would say, about 2014 to sometime in 2016, and then he did the podcast. And for Sneako, it's, I would say, about 2017 to about 2020 or so. And
Mhm.
now he's shifting on to doing these live streams. And
Mm.
I was watching this video. So somebody actually took the course. So
Really?
I got a shout out that you ever heard of the YouTuber B Soul? He's like a big guy. I don't know how into ASMR you are, but he kind of looks like an ASMR YouTuber named Maddie Tingles, but younger.
B
And he
souls?
yeah, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. B Souls. He normally talks about the NBA, but I think this is his second channel where it's just more like commentary or reaction videos.
Huh. Oh yeah, he
And he
does
had
look like that Maddie Tingles guy. I know who you're talking about.
yeah, so he actually, I watched this yesterday. He actually did a video and he took the course. So I gotta give props to him for doing that, for spending his own money just to show other people what this creative kid as what. Oh my goodness.
Jeez.
Everything this dude is now, he's just a copycat of Andrew Tate. Because when I made that video almost going on 3 weeks ago about Sneako, when I called him out,
Mhm.
that it already changed. Because the price of it It was just a flat fee of what it was, $245 or something like that. And now he did what Andrew Tate did with the Top G Hustlers University and made it $50 per month, just like Andrew Tate. So everything this dude is doing, it's like what Migos said years ago on Portland, riding the wave. That's what Sneako's doing. Never let them ride your wave, but that's what Sneako is exactly doing. And that's the thing. Now that I think about it, that's another bad thing about Andrew Tate getting banned, because now Sneako's going to be even more louder and saying, "Oh, this is censorship. This freedom of speech is dead." All right, let me. I'm turning on the camera for a second to imitate him. This Andrew Tate ban, freedom of speech is dead. You see what they're doing, man? They got all of these feminine men all over YouTube. They got these guys painting their fingernails. We want real masculine men back.
Damn, that's a good one again. Yeah, the riding the wave. I mean, I keep on remembering. I know now that song is coming back. The flutes in that song is now coming back. That whole melody. Yeah, people. It's once something is popping or whatever. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can do it too, and I can do it better," and they try to just run with it. And yeah, with this Hustlers University, I think Sneako saw that as a way to make some extra money. And he knew that he had the loyal support to do it. So he said, okay, I'm going to do this. And going back to Tate, I actually watched a video of, I think it was like a financial guy. He like talks about crypto and all that. He was a YouTuber, and I was watching like people like enroll in Hustlers University. And it's basically, it's like a drop shipping course where you make like a website and you find a cool product online, and then you basically make a website and you set up like a paywall, and then these people like pay you, and then you give them like the product, and you like do this whole marketing thing, and then the more people you refer, it's like you get money. But the guy that like put in money, like he put in like $200 to $300 just for the website and like all that, he said he only like got a return of investment of like $40. So he like lost pretty much, he lost like $160 from this like whole Hustlers University.
Yeah, there was a video. I don't know if you heard of this guy. His name's Repzilla.
Zilla.
Yeah,
No, I don't heard of
Repzilla.
him.
So I think this is the kind of content he does. He just like exposes scams, and he did that with Hustlers University. So a thing Andrew Tate harps on is, it was in one of his promo videos, I think. Oh, if you do not be like Andrew Tate, the top G, and make 6-7 figures, you are a failure for Hustlers University. But then like the result of it and the reality is that you would probably make, best case scenario, what you would make from working part-time. Best case scenario. Nowhere to be getting out of the matrix like Sneako or Andrew Tate or any of these manosphere red pill dudes will be saying. You're not getting out of the matrix. You're just... And B Soul said this in his video talking about Sneako's creative kit. They're not getting out of the matrix because that's what Sneako's saying. They're just getting into Sneako's matrix and being his minions, just like with Andrew Tate. Even that part, it's him copying Andrew Tate, because if you watch Sneako's live streams, there'll be parts of this live streams where it'll be saying, "Oh, clip this part, guys, clip it." So it's just basically him using his, because the people like us, we're not gonna be watching Sneako anymore. I unsubscribed from Sneako. But now, like, these teenagers are going to be like, yes, Sneako, and then do the dirty work for him. Or not really dirty work, but, just do work that Sneako didn't even have to do at all by posting TikTok videos. And I'm going to get into what B Soul said about this creativity kit. So one of the things for this creativity kit these people could do is there's a weekly meeting they have with Sneako via Discord,
Hmm.
and it seemed they were more focused on how to make content on TikTok related to Sneako as opposed to their own content. That's what he was saying. And then like these videos, there's I don't know. I'm just saying a rough number in my head, like 80 or so videos. And it's crazy because B Souls, he's not even a guy that has a Hustlers University Top G or creativity kit nonsense. And he pointed out things that Sneako didn't have in his things. He was saying that Sneako didn't have even, and none of these videos had something like how to make a thumbnail or title your video. Basic things for that you would need to
Wow.
know for YouTube. And he was saying also that Sneako, it seems that he was teaching people how to get famous if they wanted to be someone like him. He's not really teaching someone how to get famous if they want to be like you, for example. They want to be someone that reviews rap lyrics. So that's what he would. Those were the main takeaways that I got from that video, and that this creativity kit is on some BS, just like I said it was going to be on some BS a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's I didn't know a whole lot about the creativity kit. I only like heard about it, but the fact that he doesn't have like basic skills like learning how to create a thumbnail and like also a title and description and like how to like make your video, like format it, all that. That just seems like this is kind of like a waste of money, this creativity kit, because these are like essential things you need to know in order to be a creator, content creator, influencer, you name it. You need to know these skills. And also, like another thing too is it's weird that he wants to like make other people like him, like how to become like the next Sneako. Like, what is this like the Sneako Olympics where he chooses his like
Yeah,
next person, gives him a gold medal, and he's like, all right, now you're gonna be a new Sneako. Like that doesn't make sense. Like people like originality. Like people like I'll say this. You have to know, like you have to have like an area that you want to do. So like in your case, whatever kid, you have your diss tracks that are unique. You have your whatever podcast, you have nonsense of the week. You have all these different like areas that you base your content on. While there might be someone else that maybe bases their content on reactions to videos, trailers, you name it. And there'll be another person that maybe does like, I don't know, tier lists or maybe goes or does pranks or something like that. So you're going to have content creators that specify on like certain areas that they do. It's weird to me that Sneako thinks a creativity kit for followers like him would be based on like how to become the next Sneako, because there's really no creativity in that in the first place. It would be better, I think, for him if he was going to do a creativity kit to maybe make it based on what his followers like to do. So maybe some of them like to base their content on like societal issues, or maybe base their content on music, or maybe doing like videos where they interview public, like the public, doing something like that, because it doesn't seem like it's creative at all. Just basing it off of Sneako and wanting to be the next like Sneako clone. It doesn't really make sense to me.
yeah. The kit should be called more like the Sneako Minion kit. That's
Hmm.
really what it should be called, because when B Souls pointed out that people were talking about how to make content, how to make content related to Sneako for TikTok, that just made me think, really? This is the money you paid for? $50 a month for that. I could get PS Plus for less than that a month. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, what it's quite a waste of money too. But there are people out there like that really probably don't even see. They probably will like look past how much it is worth, and they'll say, okay, this is going towards a good cause. my savior Sneako, right? There are people that probably view him as like a savior,
Oh no.
and that's the scary thing. There are people out there that worship celebrities. I mean, you see it all the time, like extreme stands, or even stands, I should say, that just like do whatever, say whatever, just like worship people, and that's the scariest thing, that there are people out there like that.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing to add to that, well, what you said already, Ace Man, it's the fact that Sneako, even though, because all of these things, like Ty Lopez, when he was like, oh, I got these Lamborghinis, but you know what's the most important thing? Knowledge. And these books I have, though. Like, people like that, it never is legit. History repeats itself. You're never actually going to get to the point that you aspire to be if you fall for this nonsense and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be a guy that gets rich. You're not going to be getting rich. All of these people are grifters. Sneako, Ty Lopez, Andrew Tate, they're all grifters.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. I forgot about Ty Lopez. It was interesting that you brought that up, because I remember him from like 3, 4 years ago when he was like very popular with all this like get rich, read these books, and then he'll show you like his lifestyle and like going on private jets and stuff, and read this book and take my course. But yeah, they're all delivering false realities towards people that unfortunately some of them may believe and fall for this stuff, which is sad. And I think people need to wake up and like literally wake up, not like not fun for Sneako, but really to understand that these influencers are screwing with them and giving you these like the Andrew Tate stuff you can find online on Investopedia. Like you can find all the same all that same knowledge, that whole knowledge base that is in that Andrew Tate Hustlers University course. You could probably find that on Investopedia. You could probably read the Wall Street Journal and find all that same information. As for Sneako, you could probably find creator kits or even like read articles, and they'll tell you step by step how to like be a successful creator, and like steps and knowledge and skills that you need. So yeah, it's crazy that there are people out there that do fall for this, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, so I got a message. I'm gonna be pulling my inner Sneako once again. All right, guys, you gotta wake up. You gotta wake up. You can't be falling for these grifters like Sneako. These guys are not in it for your best interest. They only care about themselves and what you can make for them. You gotta wake up. Stop being a bot to people like Sneako, because they're the 1% for a reason. They're not going to share their sauce they have with you because they want to be that 1%. So wake up.
Sneako, relax. Damn.
Yeah, but I'm joking around, but seriously though, like people really think that these people that are in the 1% are really going to share their sauce they have with other people. They're the 1% for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that question that got viral. Would you rather? What was it? It was rather what, win like a 200,000 or whatever it was, or a dinner with Jay-Z.
I may have heard of that.
It was something like that, and it's expected. People were roasting others that would say, "Oh, I'm gonna go on a dinner with Jay-Z," because you really think Jay-Z is gonna tell you all of his secrets that made him where he's at. And besides that, to each their own, because what worked for Jay-Z might not work for you. So exactly. That's the thing about it. And that's why these courses never pan out the way that you want it, because what worked for Andrew Tate is not going to work for you most likely, or what worked for Sneako is not going to work for you most likely. I mean, there's probably some things that you can listen to them and think this is something to implement it to whatever I'm doing, but you can't just take their whole formula word for word, bar for bar, as Soldier Boy would say. You can't do that and expect to be, oh yes, I'm a rich millionaire or whatever. Because look at someone like a Tony DeYoung. He did the whole Eminem gimmick, everything, and he's nowhere.
Yep.
Because he's just copying somebody. No originality whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Firmly agree with you. And yeah, even these even if you get knowledge from people who maybe want to go into like the field of, let's say, rapping, right? And you get to have a meeting with Jay-Z. I mean, that's amazing. But maybe some of the things and advice that Jay-Z will say maybe is not going to be relevant to you in your trajectory into wanting to level up in your career, in the career of rapping, for instance. Or if you want to, like, I don't know, become a lawyer, you have an interview with a lawyer, you do like a whole like informational interview, and the things that they may recommend maybe won't be applicable to you for whatever reason. So yeah, it really is that definitely makes a lot of sense. And yeah, with Tony DeYoung and any like person that isn't really I don't want to be mean here, but like isn't like what they want to be, I guess, like being successful or whatever. It's because they don't like they're not creative, or they just are copying people. And you do see copycats, make it into the scene and whatnot, but they don't stick around for long. They usually will fall out because they're just, a ripoff or a discount whatever artist they're copying. And, they just become irrelevant. And you have to stay relevant. And you have to stay true to your respective work. You don't want to copy people. You don't want to like steal the sound of other people and run from it and then just, screw that up. You just want to, be unique in your own way, unique in your own skills, unique in your own product. And that is not true for some people. Some people try to copycat someone and they'll get you nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And this is not us saying that you can't be inspired by someone, because of
Mhm.
course, whether it's Aceman, he gets inspired by who he watches. The same thing with me when it comes to like my diss tracks. Whether it's subconsciously or consciously, when it comes to whatever it may be, like the flows I use, the wordplay I use for a diss track. So of course there's going to be influence there, but there's a big difference between having inspiration / influence and just straight up copying, like a
Yep.
Tony DeYoung or a
Yep.
Laylo Hansen with the whole Billie Eilish image.
hmm Exactly. You can be inspired because there are rappers and artists that may inspire your favorite artist. Um, but it's when you, like, for instance, with freaking Tony DeYoung. He based this whole song of you mentioned this in your content cop video, where he basically based a whole Eminem song, Kim, right? And he based
Yeah.
it off of like that other song that he just released. And there's a lot of his similar like bars in there that literally look like he played a game of Mad Libs and he just like erased a couple of the adjectives and nouns and he just put in like the new ones to work that out, stole the flow and everything. And yeah, that he is like a Slim Shady, like through and through. Like he's everything that Eminem warned us could
Yeah.
happen.
The real life stand. That's why I called him the real life stand, because look at it. I'm surprised you know what I'm surprised he never did? I'm
What?
surprised he never dyed his hair blonde.
Oh, well, he shaved his head bald. Remember that in that one video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't like worn a white t. Well, he actually wore a white t-shirt in one of his videos, so he does dress a little bit like Slim.
Even I've listened to his music. I know I must have a high pain tolerance to do something like that, but I listen to his music, and even like the way he pronounces some words. There was one that really stuck out to me. It was called the AJ Reynolds diss track,
Mhm.
and there was a part where he was like, where it sounded like he was doing like the nasally way
Oh,
the
yeah.
Eminem sounds. There was a part of it. He was like, Reynolds just got slang.
Oh, those oh man. Yeah, that is what you call an Eminem copycat. Again, he shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
He needs to create his own even if he's taking like it's one thing if you maybe use that as like an inspiration, but when you're basically being the discount Eminem, that there's getting you nowhere. That's literally getting you nowhere.
Yeah. Can you tell me something that you can identify Tony DeYoung from besides him being an Eminem wannabe? You can't.
No. I mean, he also went on Dr. Phil, so he got a little bit of clout off of that, but not much.
Yeah, that didn't last too long.
That was so funny though. Like that whole Dr. Phil era where you had like Bad Baby, then you had Tony DeYoung, and then you had some other guy. He was like a killer clown. He went on there too. He was a rapper as well. You
Oh,
had all these,
so
yeah,
oh man, so you have the Eminem wannabe, and then you have the insane clown posse
yep,
wannabe.
yeah. And
That's
then you have,
crazy.
yeah, and then you have the rebel without a cause, Danielle Bergoli. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like what the heck?
yeah. We'll get more into those people when we do the diss track tier list.
I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to that.
yeah. So now we're gonna talk about more H3 now.
Hmm.
So first off, I mentioned it earlier here, and I said it on my Sneako video. So what do you think about my comparison with Sneako and H3H3?
I think it's pretty accurate in a lot of ways. Like they both had like a come up, right? Like Sneako was making like unique videos from 2015 or 16 to about 2020, and then he kind of shifted. And same thing with H3. You know, he was making like I only watched a couple of his videos from the past. I didn't really know like too much about him, but I remember his like homogeneous Callidius video, which was so funny. Like all his spoof videos, that was like what made him like stand out. And then he did his podcast, and then he started going down like the political rabbit hole. I think because he saw that, and Sneako did too. Saw that as maybe allowing him to expand his base and maybe even allowing him to diversify his content. So with both Sneako and H3, I see a lot of similarities in their trajectories with their careers on YouTube.
You know what's interesting as well? So there's literally a podcast episode. I swear to you, where H3H3 just said, "Oh, there's times where I'm racist." What? And then you have Sneako. He's being cool and buddy buddy with a racist in Nick Fuentes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another reason why I said that he's the right wing H3H3.
Oh yeah, I see it a lot more now. And I watched a couple H3 podcasts or a few clips. And yeah, it does remind me. It kind of reminds me also of like Steven Crowder in the way that he sets up his podcast, where he has like 5 or 6 people. His wife is there, and then a few other people, like
Yeah,
producers and whatnot. And it kind of gives me like a Steven Crowder kind of feel too, with the podcast, like just the format of the podcast.
yeah, and you want to talk about also the H3H3 and Andrew Tate beef, which I
Mm.
find interesting because I don't know if he's ever gonna have like a debate. H3 will ever have a debate with Sneako. So I feel that him beefing with Andrew Tate is the closest thing to that
Yeah,
because of my comparison with H3 and Sneako. I find the beef pretty interesting.
I do too. Yeah, it all started with like them making I don't know the full story of like how this became about, but I have watched the clips where they have each talked about each other in like negative ways. I know that Tate and Tristan were talking they had like I think it was back in May or something, and they were somebody brought to their attention H3, and Andrew says, "I have never seen this man before." And then Tristan goes, "Look at his wife. I would never sleep with her." It was like something like that. And I then remember Tristan said something like, H3 looks like the guy who goes to the playground and befriends all the
Yeah,
children. I'm like, oh my God. And then H3 got back at him and said, well, Tristan looks like the type of guy who sleeps in a like a little car for like a little kid bed, something like that. And yeah, that like it got like wicked nasty and like they were just talking about each other. And yeah, that's what I like remember from it. But yeah, I was like, wow. Andrew Tate and Tristan were like roasting H3 and his wife. I remember that. And then they got back at them.
Yeah, that's just that's just funny. And there was something that stood out to me when they were roasting them, and I just find it corny. They're talking, oh, Andrew Tate, the top G. I get all of these women. You can't get any women. You can't get any women at H3. And I just find it ironic, not just Andrew Tate, but just red pillars in general. They'll they'll be bashing women, but then at the same time, they'll be saying, I got mad women, bro," and as a way to validate themselves,
Yep.
which I find pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's they're I think a lot of them are walking contradictions where they like violate their own principles. Um which shows I think that Andrew Tate is in my eyes, I think he's a bit immature. Um he's like he likes to show off and
Yeah.
it gets way too excessive to the point where he just kind of sounds like an a-hole, you know.
What color is your Bugatti?
I have 12 Bugattis. How many do you have? It's like,
None, because I'm not a 1%er like you, man.
yeah, he was talking. And actually, the other night, this is really weird. I don't know if you heard, he went on Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, that's wild.
He went on
That is
Tucker.
wild.
So Tucker had him on, and like Tate was so much different, though. I was interesting to watch the interview. I found it online. I watched it, and it was like Tate was not in like his element. He was in like, it looked like a hotel room. He was like, he didn't talk in like the way that he would normally talk. Like he tried to like put on like a different persona and he like was calm and he like described his takes and he tried to make it so that it sounded neutral. It was like really weird. I've never seen him like this like he was just different from his normal self where he has the shirt off or he's wearing that like leopard coat and he has his like buttons unbuttoned and he has those like big glasses on. Like he didn't have any of that on. It was like really weird to see.
Yeah, so I want to ask this before we transition into politics. What do you think about Fresh and Fit?
I don't really like them. Um, I think that their show is like if you were gonna put the red pill on a spectrum from like least destructive to like most destructive, I'd say they're probably on the far like the most destructive part of that spectrum because they say and they also well the thing is that they purposely will select women that fit their narrative
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
yeah, it's
That is what I
crazy.
was thinking.
And I say, you know what? They're trying to spin this narrative, and they have a lot of like young men watch the show. Like, and it's not like Sneako's demographic. They have people that are like in their 20s and 30s, and even people in their 40s watch it. So they have people that are young and older too. And the thing that I find like I find the worst about them is like they'll have women that like like live the lives that they will say oh yeah don't choose them and they'll try to find like the ones that fit their narrative, you know. So it's always like the same types of people on that show and then they'll bring on some like red pillar people and then they'll say nasty stuff about it. And I think for me I remember when the show was getting popular like last year and I would sometimes watch it just to hear and they also had, like, the financial show, so I'd watch what the financial show was about. More so just to hear because I think one of them is, like, into, like, I think real estate or something like that. Well, anyways, they had, who do they have on? Well, when Abba and Preach went on, they were, like, making fun of them afterwards. They never allowed Abba to speak, and that was when, like, I said, "Okay, these guys are kinda a-holes." And I knew, like, from the start that they were, like, they were both cocky, you know. They were both, you know, upright, uptight. Um, and yeah, when they started saying stuff about ABBA and Preach, They're making fun of them. They're getting immature. I said, all right, I'm not watching the show anymore. But I used to watch it just to hear what the heck they were saying. I never agree with any of the points that they made. I thought they were very bigoted people, misogynist. Yeah, they're not someone I watch at all.
Yeah, that I love that you brought up that point because they always bring the same girls. It's always like some porn stars, Instagram models, OnlyFans girls. It's always that. Well, if you really want to show that, oh, women in the West, why don't show all women in the West? Why don't you show like the Christian girl that's saving herself for marriage? Why don't you show like a I don't know how familiar you are with her, but why don't you like put Brett Cooper on there?
Oh, I've heard of her. Yep.
Why don't you put some girl like that or Ben Shapiro's sister, Abigail? Why don't you put women on like that? Because that's gonna get rid of your whole narrative that women in the West are all bad.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
besides that, they're so sensitive because I didn't watch the video, but I saw on a thumbnail that they copyright strike Abba and Preach.
I think they did, yeah. They said they were watching their videos or something, and like I think it was more because the whole beef, and they were talking about like they were saying some nasty stuff about Preach and his wife, and also they were making fun of their appearance and saying like there are two sweaty dudes and a mic, and it was just they trying to find anything to get their hands on why Abba and Preach are like bad, and it just showed how weak their arguments were against them. And it also shows you, yeah, they're very like very sensitive. And yeah, they're kind of scumbag like.
Yeah, they're too bad they're not. They're lucky they missed our scumbag tier list. They're lucky with that, but man, maybe who knows? I'm not saying if I'm gonna do a diss on them, but who knows? Man, maybe if we do another tier list, maybe they might be put on that. Just throwing that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So you want to transition into politics now?
Yeah, let's get into politics.
All right, so Trump stance. Oh my goodness. The reason I want to talk about this is because I know people, and it's just, it's crazy. People just defend this guy to the death. And you can't even get your significant other to defend you like some of these people defend Trump. Every single thing that this man does, it's like, Donald Trump's the victim. Like with this whole raid that's going on. This is all unethical or whatever they're saying. It's so predictable with these people that always defend Trump. It's always, this is a witch hunt. It's this or that. Poor Donald Trump, the billionaire that made Trump University. All right, but before you give your takes on Trump stands, what would you rather pick? Hustlers University or Trump University?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I think for the price and for like the quality of lessons, I'd probably say Hustlers University. Just because Trump University not accredited, a lot more money, was a ripoff. You probably didn't really even get a good education anyways. Just with all the horror stories behind that scam, I'd probably say Hustlers University, lose like $300, but still walk away with like, okay, at least I didn't lose like thousands and thousands of dollars, you know? So yeah, it still would hurt the bank account, but it wouldn't be as extreme as a college degree.
Yeah. And before you give your take on about Trump stands, oh my goodness, the election. Oh, the election is rigged. Oh, Joe Biden, how can he get that many votes? Oh, how is this possible? Trump lost. But the thing that's so ironic about that is that when people were crying, when the left was crying about Russia interference, they were saying, get over it, take the L like a man.
Mm.
But since their daddy Trump is the one that lost it. Oh, it's rigged. There's no way. It's so absurd that he lost to Joe Biden. But the thing that these people fail to take into account, because us, for example, we
Mhm.
live in a more left leaning state.
Yeah.
So people don't like Trump, really. I
Mhm.
mean, I feel, I don't know what's from your observations, but I will say this. People seem to have been more open about their support for Trump in the 2020 cycle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but overall, the state we live in, it's left leaning. So, just for example, a lot of people don't like Trump. Like when I went to school, it was my freshman year when the 16 election was going on. And I remember one of our classes, we were just talking about pretty much how some people have anxiety if Trump were to go in office. So that just gives you an idea on the not just the school, but how the state is. I mean, of course, there's people that vote for Trump and where we're at, but it's a left leaning place. And
Mhm.
there's other places in America that don't like Trump. So that's the thing that these Trump stands fail to take into account. They say, "Oh, rigged! This is not a fair election." So you know what? I'm gonna raid Washington. They stole the election. They didn't steal anything. It's because there's half of the country that doesn't like him. That is why Trump lost. That's the reason. It's not because Trump was stolen in the election, and you would not be saying this. I can guarantee you, you would not be saying this if Trump won the election instead. You wouldn't be saying this, and people were to say, "Oh," if the left were to say, "Oh, it's Russian interference," you'd be saying the same thing you said in 16. But since Trump lost, you're crying about it because you can't take a L. And
Mhm.
that's what's so ironic about right wingers. They'll say liberals get triggered, but then they get triggered at things. Or they'll say, "Oh, America's got soft. They get participation trophies now," but then they'll cry because their guy lost. So what do you have to say about just Trump stands and just people that defend him to the death?
Wow. I mean, when this happened, like 2016, I think the country was already on like a path where it was going to be divided. There was just a lot of issues that were dividing Americans even prior to like the 2016 election. Um so I think the divide was just getting further and further, and Trump was just that like figure that basically came about from this divide. But yeah, the stands is it's quite concerning, I think, because you look at countries around the world and it should be country over party over figure, like everywhere. That's what I believe. And I believe that with countries where it's authoritarian, life is not probably going well for
Mm-hmm.
you. You have to respect the supreme leader. You have to basically it's like the supreme leader is like the god of that country and you have to follow them. If you say anything, if you speak out against them, you'll probably get thrown in jail. And that's what's scary. And it's this authoritarian um way about worshiping a leader, which is scary. And I always believe I'm a firm believer in never ever become so drawn to a politician. It's going to be the worst idea ever because you're going to have a situation where I think the US is in right now where President Trump, former President Trump and his supporters, they view him as like basically like a god, if you will. They literally worship the guy. Well, some people will probably even die for him. Like I think that if you ask some people like, "Oh, whatever," like he would probably some people would say, "Oh, I'd die for Trump because I love him." It's that love which is scary. Because it's really you should only like only your country, and there are a lot of people that just fell into this trap of seeing Trump as someone who they could look up to, but almost acknowledge and worship, which is scary and not say, okay, I don't agree with him here, but I do agree with him here. No, it was more of people really started to follow him. And since he had that celebrity status already, he was already very interesting to people. And as more and more people saw that he was succeeding and that he was going to most likely even win the presidency, that's when people were drawn to him. And that's where he almost had something like a cult. And I've heard the term cult, and I think it's fair to say that with like 1/6 that just happened last year, it's kind of like a cult. Um, and that's scary. And there are the stands out there, will believe anything that he says and the lies that he says, the conspiracy theories that he pushes. That's something that is very alarming. And it comes to show you, though, that I think it's also the distrust of the government um, that leads people to become this extreme. And it also shows you that it's not just like Trump that has caused this, but it's also like just the political system in general. Because our founding fathers of the US warned us that something like this could play out where political parties could divide the country instead of unite the country, which we are living in right now. So yeah, these stands, it's alarming what they think about the election and about the pandemic and all these things that are all lies. It's scary. And yeah, we're from a state where it's um it's more democratically leaning, but there are states, in the US that are quite the opposite, where it's actually hard to find people who are maybe on the left side of the spectrum or have more democratic views. And yeah, I think with the election, I mean, I like doing like election projection videos. And specifically with 2016, I knew that was going to be a close election. I knew that Hillary Clinton was a candidate who had a lot of had a lot of baggage, especially with Benghazi and her emails, that would make her seem as a candidate that maybe wouldn't be as strong compared to like Bernie Sanders. While you had Trump, who was a candidate who was, different. He was not. He was an outsider. He was a populist in some ways. A lot of his policies were favoring like the middle class. He was talking a lot about economics. People like that, but they also liked his demeanor and how he didn't speak like a politician. And as time went on and the that went on and how close that election was, it was only a matter of time where I said, okay, I think this next election, we're going to see a bigger turnout of people and a lot of people who maybe regretted not voting in 2016. And that's what we saw. We had a lot of issues in 2020. I mean, 2020, we saw um, the George Floyd protests, we saw the COVID-19 pandemic, economic issues came up as well. So there were a lot of issues that made people want to go to the polls. And it was only a matter of time. And I saw it coming. I said, okay, I don't think he's going to win the presidency because all these issues have come up. 2016 was an indicator that he didn't even win the popular vote. So how do you expect him to win the popular vote this time when there's more issues that some voters may see that he has caused? So 2020 came around. He lost key battleground states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, which allowed Biden to win the presidency. And from the fallout, I saw this coming. And there were game theory, which game theory is like a discipline in political science where you do these like kind of like games where that something might happen. So it's more of how to respond to that. And there were articles written, whatever kid, back like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the election even happened, and it was projecting that if Trump would lose, like the election, that this was what was going to happen, and unfortunately, it did. Like all the fallout happened.
All right, man. I can't help it. I'm gonna be doing another Sneako imitation, doing the whatever
Yeah,
kid twist to it. You're bots. I knew it. You people are bots. I knew that you were gonna be acting like this because your boy Daddy Trump lost the election. You are bots. Wake up. Wake up. The reason why your boy Donald Trump lost the election is because of what Aceman said. He knows what he is talking about. But I know you're not gonna listen to him, so yeah, I know you're gonna be staying blind, but me, I'm gonna be staying woke because I'm not a bot.
yeah, man. Like I think that's the scariest thing, though. Like people can't come to terms that um it was a free and fair election. I think the percentage was like 99.85 or something, was like that's the chances. Well, that was like how fair it was. Um and yeah, there was that one video. I don't know if I can't really mention the title. I don't know if we're gonna get like I don't want to get this interview like
Yeah.
or this, so I'm not gonna mention it. But there is a, if you just search it up, you could search up like move or documentary about the election, and it basically goes into detail about like they believe that the election, it's like an alternative point on the election, and it basically is not even true either. That whole documentary has a lot of problems. You can read up articles on that documentary, but it brings up the question, or it just brings up just the point that if people don't want to hear what's true, or if people don't want to hear like that the election was fair and free, they just want to hear like what they want to just get fed more of that narrative because they're so brainwashed. And there's shows, there's radio shows syndicated across the US where these, lies are still being spewed, which is alarming to me. And there are also people that distrust the media. They'll only watch certain channels, only consume certain content, which is also alarming too, because they're not keeping an open mind to what the other side has to say or what other perspectives have to say. And this is where it's very alarming for just a state in general, just a country in general, of when you have these clear divides. It's only going to be a matter of time before something serious happens. Um, and that's the scariest thing, That is the scariest thing.
Yeah, so I'm not one that follows politics as much as you guys or anybody else. Shout out to Big Don, shout out to Kai, shout out to you guys as well for the Peace and Chaos program. I don't follow politics as much as you guys do. I mean, there's topics where I have more knowledge compared to other topics.
Mhm.
So this is why I wanted to ask you about what you thought about Trump versus Biden. So there's a before you answer that, I want to know how accurate people's claims are, because one of the claims I don't know for sure because I haven't done the research. That's why I'm asking you. But how accurate are the claims when people say about Trump the economy was great before COVID?
The so there are some things that are true, like indicators that are true with the economy. I'm gonna look up unemployment really quick, because unemployment is one of those things that it's kind of a weird statistic. I look up unemployment in the year 2019 because this was when economists say was one of the best years. So unemployment is basically the um, measure of how many people are working, and this could even include people who are like working like part-time jobs. So it even includes them. So it could even like include people that maybe are only working like 20 hours a week or something, and they still claim that they're employed and they're in the same pool as people who are employed full time. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics um, pulls out and it's weird too how they figure out who's employed and who's not employed. It's basically they just randomly contact people, and it's a survey, and you either say that you're employed, or if you're unemployed, um, you'll basically unemployed people are defined as people who are looking for jobs, actively looking for jobs, and who are not employed at the moment. But they don't count people who are like in like school. They don't count people who are like maybe disqualified for whatever reason, who are active duty service members, old people. Like if you're not at that age or anything like that, you're not even considered in this whole like percentage. But in 29, so a good unemployment number is kind of between like 4 and 6%. That's like good for a country where like only 4% of the active working population are unemployed. That's pretty good. In 2019, so this was a year before it kind of shut down. We had the shutdowns. It was 3.6%. And I can look back. Um, It was kinda going down actually with from President Obama when he took office back in, January of 2009. I can look this up right now. The unemployment rate was, uh, 7.8%, okay? And then it went up a little bit due to, the recession that we encountered back in 2008, 2009. It went up to about 10%. And then it started going down from 2010, January of 2010, all the way to record low numbers in 2019. So the economy for those about regarding just people employed, the economy was starting to do really well. I'd say during Obama, latter half of President Obama's first term and into President Trump, uh, into the third year of President Trump's term. So, to be honest, the way that they say that it was better, there are a lot of stats that show that we actually had record growth between 2014 and 2018. So that was both with President Obama and President Trump. So to say that the economy was better, are you saying under Trump compared to Biden?
Yeah, that's what people just say in general. I'll hear people say that the economy was great when Trump was in office before COVID hit.
Well, yeah, I do say somewhat that is true. Some of the numbers do show that the economy was doing relatively well during the Trump presidency. But it also shows you that it was doing well even prior to him taking office. So, and it's also a thing too where the economy is something where it can change, and it might not even be due to a politician. Like for instance, the pandemic that impacted the economy. Like seriously, the global economy was hindered significantly, and even now with inflation, there were already predictions that with the economy, it was with the pandemic, it was going to further up inflation to the numbers that we see now. And then on top of that, we had the supply chain issues of last year too, and into this year, which impacted the flow of goods and services. And also with the war going on as well, exports such as grain, um, that's also being limited. And then there was also like a hacking of a big meat producer in Australia, which also impacted the flow too, and also with oil as well. So there's a whole lot of goods and services that have also been impacted due to current events. So it's a whole bunch of issues, I'd say.
Okay, yeah. You bringing up about like Obama, that's another thing that made me think about that people will give the credit, oh, Donald Trump, when it's like a gray area
Mhm,
because let's say the economy was booming when Obama finishes his 8 years and then
mhm,
Trump comes into office. So it's still booming when Trump is in the office his first couple of months. So it's like a tricky thing that might be some, that might be something where a Trump fan could be like, "Oh, see, the economy was great when Trump was under office."
mhm. Yeah, that is the thing too. I think that the market, um, it's kind of a it is sometimes impacted by who's the president, but it also is impacted. It also goes through like hills and valleys of it's impacted by world events. For instance, like the housing market crisis in 2008. It was impacted by that. Um, and again, it was also impacted a little bit by the financial crisis that occurred in Europe too in 2012, or 2010 to 2012. It was semi impacted by that. And of course, with COVID too. And there were projections even before we had a pandemic where economists were saying that, oh, we're going to have another housing crisis because we have seen prices of houses skyrocket over these past few years, um, which has um, been discussed to some fullest extent, I'll say. So yeah, it really does depend. It's a whole gray area, and people will, say, "Oh," like you see attack ads all the time. We're saying like the economy is doing horrible, but when you look
Yeah,
at the stats, it's like, well, it's how you interpret it, because this stat might be bad, but this stat doesn't seem that whole bad. That is as bad as that, I should say. And yeah, like the stands will always like that's their talking points, on both sides of the aisle. They always say the economy was horrible under them and it was better under them. But when you look at the numbers, it's kind of a gray area, and numbers don't lie. So it's more of what stats you show, I'd say.
So I thought of an analogy when it comes to, let's say, people comparing Trump and Biden, like with inflation, for example, because all the inflation has been escalating, even though there's been things that happened when Trump was in office that probably did contribute to how it is going on right now. So my analogy is like, let's say I was a general manager of a sports team,
Mm-hmm.
and I would get all of these star players, but I got fired, and then they hired you as the new GM. You might have made some minor moves, maybe get some role players, for example.
Yep.
But I was the one responsible for getting the star players that the team really needed to win a championship. But you're the one that won the championship. So it's like this gray area where I contributed to it, but you made some contributions to it as well. And depending on who people are more of a fan of, they can use that as their narrative. They
Mm-hmm.
could be, if they're more of a fan of you, they could say, "Oh, Aceman, he's the reason why they won the championship." Or if people are more of a fan of me, they could be saying, "Oh, the whatever kid, he's the reason they won the championship. He was the one that got the star players."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a good analogy. People, it's a joint effort, I'd say, because policies do have like, sometimes policies, the impact of policies don't really go into effect until years later. Um, and yeah, that is definitely the case too. And I see that with some efforts that former President Obama made, former President Trump made, and now with President Biden, how some of the decisions that even President Trump has made have, had ripple effects into this presidency. So yeah, I would agree with you there. I think that's a great analogy actually. It makes a lot of sense for people who maybe don't like understand the political and economic layover of the US and just in general and just political science.
Yeah, I feel that analogy is more simpler because people like me, for example, I don't get all the ins and outs of politics. So something where I'm more of an expert at or have more knowledge about, I feel that analogy could help people get it more.
Mhm.
Get like the vague idea or just get a general idea
Yep.
of what it's like when people compare this president and this president, or say Joe Biden, the inflation happened under his watch,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
whatever with Trump it may be. Oh, this happened under Trump's watch.
Yeah, and people like to blame people too. Usually like presidents are the ones to blame when we do have like economic issues. And yeah, with this case, there are people that do like to blame Biden for like economic issues. It's just more of like who to scapegoat, I guess. And
Yeah,
you could say, well, okay, maybe it's the SEC, the regulatory body that looks over some of this financial policy, and then others will say, oh, it's the president because they haven't done enough. So it does come down to that too, and people love to point blame on other people and that. And I mean, with COVID, like during the pandemic, like people were loving to blame governors and elected officials and blame them for like their whole shutting down the economy and uh blaming them for maybe the impact of their livelihoods. So we saw that too with COVID, and the impact and the economic repercussions and the whole political fallout from that too. And that's also like a recent example that shows you that people, when their economic well-being isn't well, they'll always point the finger at officials.
yeah. The thing about COVID, you have to divide that blame chart. You can't just put 90% on Trump, for example.
Mhm.
It's you got to divide that with a whole bunch of people when it comes to the whole situation with COVID. I don't think it's just Donald Trump's to blame for it. I don't think it's just Anthony Fauci or whoever it may be.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely agree there. Um, there's a whole lot of people that, could take the blame. You could even blame like the WHO for some things. You could blame, yeah, health officials for some things. Even local officials too. I mean, governors, they had a lot of power over their state matters. And then you also saw like even at the really localized level, city council members, the mayor of cities, um, superintendents of schools, they made decisions too that impacted your life in your locale. So yeah, it doesn't really just come down to like the president on that too. It comes down to all the elected officials at all levels of government.
So when it comes to Biden and Trump,
Mhm.
how would you rate? I would say their 10 years.
Okay, for Trump, I thought that his tenure was like mixed on some levels. I thought that there were some good things that he did pass. I think that one of his biggest victories actually was getting the funding for the vaccines. He started that like in January of 2020, and he got them out by like December of 2020. That was one of the biggest, I'd say, one of his biggest accomplishments. Also, another accomplishment of his was, his reforms with criminal justice. This wasn't something that he ran on per se, but this was something that he invited Kim Kardashian to the White House. He also invited people who were wrongfully convicted, and his focus on social justice or criminal justice was something that a lot of people didn't see coming. But I will say that that was a big like success for him. But then there was also a lot of setbacks. I think that his response to the pandemic was pretty much a failure in a lot of ways. It seemed like they were just not orchestrated at the White House compared to other countries like Germany and also like Germany and Australia and New Zealand, who had more organized layouts against the virus, and I mean against the pandemic. It seemed like the U.S. wasn't as ready per se than other countries, and I think it came down to somewhat of the leadership. I think also some of the rhetoric that he did um, say on certain sensitive topics, like the George Floyd protests, didn't help either. So there were times, and even his rhetoric towards international figures, like remember the UN. He had a UN speech where he called Kim Jong Un Rocket Man, and that tensified the region. I remember it was around that time that they sent warning rockets over Japan and South Korea, and there was a lot of fears that there could have been a conflict that was developing due to this behavior. And then also in 2020 with the killing of Iranian General Soleimani, that was also a questionable call under his presidency. And then the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, although it sounded good on paper, there were a lot of things in there that really didn't help a lot of working class people. So, to sum up his presidency, there were some good things that he did, and then there were also some things that I questioned. So, now fast forwarding that to Biden, I think President Biden's so far I'd say his tenure in office has been like I'd say there have been some good things, and there's also been some things where he could have improved on. Again, I think last year, how slow some of the acts that he wanted to get passed, how slow they were was an issue. Also, him canceling the pipeline that ran all the way from Canada down to Texas was kind of a weird call. Even though there were fears that it could blow up, I thought that it did take away a lot of jobs, which I was a little critical on. Um, I did think that President Biden, the rollout plan for the COVID-19 vaccine was relatively orchestrated. So I do give him credit there. For foreign policy, I thought that was a good idea to get back into the WHO and also the Paris Climate Accords. I thought that those were two good things. And then he also set up like a military group, an alliance between U.S., Australia, and the UK, which was an important thing as well. So he has had some successes, and then this recent Inflation Reduction Act has to be one of his biggest accomplishments. So he's also had some failures too, but I think that overall, um, he's been doing. I would say he's doing a little bit better than President Trump, but he is in still a predicament with just the economy in general and the fallout we are facing from the pandemic.
So, what do you think about the whole Sleepy Joe narrative?
Wow, that is quite a interesting thing that came up. I mean, it came up during the campaign trail. And I will say this: I think during the campaign trail, it was weird how his campaign was run. I think having him in his house a lot. I mean, he's an older man. He was like 77, 78 at the time. He's a little bit older now, but when the pandemic was going on, you couldn't really campaign. And I think that's where Trump was trying to like say, "Oh, look, he doesn't have any followers because he has like 10 people at his campaign rallies." So like that's what they're bringing up, and then calling him Sleepy Joe because he's an older man. He has less energy than Trump does. It was kind of more about like how able-bodied he is. And then there's also people claiming that he's taking naps during the day and all that. So that's more of just like a tax than anything else.
So, what do you make about the moments where, I mean, someone like me, I have moments where I might fumble over my words, for
Mhm.
example. But what do you make of those kind of moments where one of them where he was, what was it, the Pledge of Allegiance, or what was it, the Star
Yeah.
Spangled Banner?
Yeah, something like that. He had like several of those. I think it was also on July 4th. He had a slip up too. I think the thing with him is that I believe he has like a speech impediment. He actually has spoken about this on the campaign trail. I think he had one since he was a young kid.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was quite a like a lot of people have talked about that. And yeah, I think that you have to be like an effective communicator. um, I know, like, I slip up words a lot too. I'll mumble my words occasionally. I try not to, but it just happens a lot. I think with Biden, President Biden, he has this like I think since he's been a kid, it's happened. So it's more of like just his just like an issue that he has had to deal with his whole life. But yeah, like people have really like to make like sound bites out of that. Like, they like to attack him on that and say, like, "Oh, he's illiterate and, like, he can't even speak," and I would say he's not a great orator compared to previous presidents, um, but then again, I think it also they have to give him, like, a little bit of leadway because he has, like, a few, like, speech problems.
I didn't even know that. That's interesting. You brought that up. I didn't even know that because if you were some Fox News fanboy, you would just think, "Oh, Joe, Sleepy Joe, he has dementia. He's not competent enough to run this country."
Mhm. Yeah, they
Because that's the
will
narrative they go with.
yeah, he has a speech disorder, that's what, a lot of, he has talked about that, but yeah, they love to, I'm sure that a lot of people don't even know that. That's the thing that I think they won't want to report on because then people will say, "Oh, okay, that kind of explains it." But that whole like narrative of he has dementia, he is like losing his mind, and look at this is a speech where he said something that doesn't make any sense,
Wow.
but it comes down to like, well, if you understood that he has like a speech disorder, that might be the reason why he said that, and that might be the reason why he may have mumbled those words. So yeah, that is something where a lot of people don't know, and they like to use it for like to further their agenda.
That's very interesting. That's why I was asking you because you followed this more deeply, and This is why. This is why I'm gonna give you guys a plug. I'm gonna be putting the links to the description for you and for your main channel, then Peace and Chaos. But this is right here, folks. This is why you should check these guys out, because they're not gonna be on some one side or favoritism. They're not gonna be leaning left. They're not gonna be leaning right, because they'll tell you what they think, like what Aceman said. He'll tell you what he thought was good about Joe Biden, but then he'll also make a video where he does a tier list for Republicans. So they keep it balanced. And this really says about the sad state of journalism, that I feel that, I'm not just saying that because I know you personally, but I feel that you guys, what you got going on with the Peace and Chaos program, I feel you guys are way more reliable when it comes to information compared to like a Fox News or a CNN, because they just go with the right or left wing narratives. That's all they do. While you guys, you're actually doing both sides of it. And the way that you just answer my questions, that really shows that you guys aren't biased at all with this. You're just giving a neutral stance on it. I mean, sure, you probably do lean, if you had to pick, there probably is a side you do lean more on, but that doesn't, that doesn't like determine what your views on a situation are when it comes to politics. Just because, I'm not saying you are or you're not. I'm just saying, for example. So just for example, you're a left winger. So just because you're a left winger doesn't mean that you're just gonna say Trump sucks and that's it.
Yeah, that is true. And yeah, thank you again for shouting us out with the Peace and Chaos program. Like Big Don and I, we had this idea for, I'd say, since like 2020, right around the time when the election was coming up. We said we need to do a podcast that is not biased, because there's so much biased things out there where you only get one side of the story, or there's a narrative and they only report on things that fit that narrative. I see it all the time, with cable news, where they will literally, I watch one news network, they'll speak on one thing. I'll watch another news network, they'll speak on a whole other story, and they'll focus on that for the whole newscast for the day. And it's wild to me that we live, today, how divided the country is, but also how the media is playing a role in that too. And I've always said, you know what? If I am ever going to do a podcast that involves politics, I want to do a podcast where we present both arguments fairly. We do it both fairly. We present the evidence. We explain both arguments, and then we let our viewers decide. And they could do, and we also encourage them to do their own research. We find, articles, news reports from all different spectrums on the political compass. And that's what we want to do, and again, it comes down to also like where you consume your news. I think in recent years, that consciousness has been growing. People in years past may have not seen, or maybe may have not understood how the news that we consume is biased in a way. They don't know that there are donors that will donate to these news organizations, and which will impact the news that comes out, which will also impact like how they present their certain stories, how much time certain stories will get. All that is all impacted by that as well. And also just who the news people are as well. They could be former people who are members of either Republican, Democrat Party, Independent Party, Green Party, any major party, and they could also be, like spreading their ideologies subtly, and you might not even know. So, yeah, the whole media, that was our whole thing, was just presenting both arguments fairly.
Yeah, you bringing that up, that makes me think, like Van Jones, for example. He used to, if I'm not mistaken, he's not on CNN anymore, right?
I think he's not on there anymore. Let me check. I know that he was on there, I believe, up until last year, but he may have. Let's see. I think he still works for CNN. Let me see if he still does.
Yeah, regardless of he does or not, he used to be under Obama's
Yep.
administration. So that right there, that's a bias right there because he worked for a left wing politician and then now he's on a left wing network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing that I noticed too, specifically, I'll target CNN and then I'll target Fox because they're like the two most popular. CNN usually for their election, like during their election um, analyses, like they do these panels on election night. Like they had primaries recently in the states of New York and Florida and Nevada. We also had them in Connecticut and Wisconsin recently. So they always do panels. And I notice out of the five people, usually three out of the five are usually former Obama, former Clinton advisors. So there are people that are biased already. And then they'll bring on maybe one person who's like former senator who's a Republican, and then they'll bring on maybe two hosts that lean more Democratic. That's usually where it goes. So it's like a 5-on-1. I noticed. But then on Fox News, you have quite the opposite. It's a 5-on-1 in favor of the Republican. And they'll usually have like a couple people who used to run. They have Mike Huckabee on occasionally. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was the for a short period of time, the White House press secretary. So they'll put on people who are also like partisan as well. And they'll have like pundits on who are conservative pundits, and they'll also serve and they'll discuss races. So yeah, it's crazy to me that this is something that is still going on in the media, and how when they present like the races, they usually will have biased people do it, and that's how they present the races for like any big race, like governor's race, senator's race, house race, whatever you name it. They will have pundits on that will really try to promote their ideologies.
Yeah, and there was something that made me think when you were saying. So Brian Stelter on CNN,
Mm-hmm.
when the Cuties movie came out, I think he had like a I don't know. It was somebody that was related to or associated with the movie in some way. And he didn't even ask any questions related to Cuties.
Yeah, that is quite it shows you that he is I mean he's biased. I mean he was recently, I don't know if you know, he was fired like last week.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that. That's crazy.
So yeah, with CNN, I'll talk a little about what's going on with CNN because they were recently taken over because the former owner of CNN, he violated his own like policies about having a relationship with a coworker, so he had to step away. And then new ownership came into CNN earlier this year. They recognized how low the ratings were for most of their channels. They let go of Chris Cuomo, who was the brother of former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Um, and then they also said, you know, we got to get rid of a lot of other people who the like viewers see as being like partisan hacks. And the first one they turned to was Brian Stelter, who is someone who, I mean, he's attacked on the right a lot, and even on the left, he's criticized. And he's someone who will usually, I mean, his whole show is pretty much based on what is Fox News saying and why is this wrong? Or what was Donald Trump saying? What is he tweeting? Why is it wrong? He was very partisan, and people saw that, and that's why that show came to an end because CNN wants to like switch back to being more of a like centrist news station because they see them as, I mean, they see it right now as the current ownership sees it as, okay, I think we went a little too far left. Let's bring it back to center. And how are we going to do this and make this so that it is going to be better for our viewers? Oh, what we're going to do is we're going to uh, fire all these people that are divisive, all these newscast people that are divisive, and we're going to make this newscast or this whole news channel centrist.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's just interesting what you've been saying, and it gives me a new perspective just asking you political questions because I'm not as expert. I don't have as much expertise as you do when it comes to just politics. I do have knowledge in certain areas compared to others, but not the grand picture of it.
Mhm.
So you wanna talk about because you mentioned about the dark Brandon memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna just because I know my dad. He's probably gonna be hearing this sometime. He's probably not gonna even know what we're talking about when we say Brandon. So it's funny how the whole origin of that even started with the Brandon meme, and it's associated with Joe Biden. So I found this I found this hilarious when I knew what it meant. It all started when Let's Go Brandon became a thing. I kept hearing Republicans, and I don't know if you watched the Hodge twins.
I have watched some of their content. Yep, I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, so I watch the Hodge twins from time to time, their conservative channel, and I seen them. I seen. I think it was Kevin,
Mhm.
that twin. He wore a Let's Go Brandon shirt. And I was seeing other right wingers talk about this Let's Go Brandon. So it all started because it was a NASCAR race. And the guy who won it, I don't know what his last name is, but his name was Brandon. So the people during the end of the race, when he was doing this post race interview, I guess that's what you call it, that
Mhm.
when you're you're finished with it because it's normally post game interview with like a basketball game or football game. So this lady, she's doing the interview with them, and then the crowd starts chanting, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. And she says, the crowd's chanting, let's go Brandon. And that's how the whole meme started. So people have been using that as a way to say F Joe Biden without saying F Joe Biden.
Yeah. Wow, it was so funny when that came out because I watched that video. It was like trending on Twitter that day, and I go, "Okay, what's this all about?" And I mean, you could clearly hear that she had to change it. She couldn't say the F word uh on the news. And plus, like, she's like, "Okay, who's the guy's name? Brandon. Okay, Brandon Biden. That sounds a little bit similar. Let's flex it to this." And that's what she
Yeah.
did, and it became a code. It's a code. Like, I have seen merch. There's a rap song with this phrase. Um, People have used it in tweets. Like, it's everywhere. It's a message. They even called Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, Brandon Falls when President Biden fell off his bike. They renamed it Brandon Falls, and tons of people went on to Google search and they just wrote reviews about it. And yeah, it's quite crazy, and it comes down to like the culture too. It's also like a political culture thing. Both sides like to have their own like catchphrases. Like you had MAGA back in 2016. And now like the Trumpers have Let's Go Brandon, which is it's hilarious from the origin story. And yeah, like now we see I mean, so I'm getting to like Dark Brandon now, those memes. Those started popping up like just under a month ago now. Like officials who work for the Biden administration started tweeting out like pictures of President Biden like black and white, and then had like the laser eyes. I mean, we've seen like Hassan Abi have it too, like that whole
Yeah.
like the laser eyes thing. I mean, it's kind of like a meme, but they did it because when President Trump was in office, a lot of his supporters were putting out like dark MAGA, and like they put up the dark thing. I think it's more of like a Dark Knight reference, or even like he's like a kryptonite and like he's like a superhero type figure. I think that's the reason why they put that up. It's like they view like President Biden as like a superhero and he's gonna take out all like the MAGAs, so to speak. It's kind of like that whole like narrative, I guess. And they saw it as like a marketability thing, like, hey, let's go with the meme now. Let's go with this Brandon meme and let's troll them a bit and let's make it a dark Brandon meme. And yeah, they did that, and it's I'd say it's a pretty genius marketing move. Now a lot of people who are Biden supporters are now reposting this, and it's getting that base riled up too. Right in time for the midterms. So we have two memes going on right now, which is quite hilarious.
Yeah. Do you know? Because I see it constantly with the red eyes shooting out. Do you know the origin of that?
I don't know actually. I've seen it everywhere though. Like I've seen a lot of like influencers have that and political commentators have that, but I don't really know where the red eye origin story is.
Yeah, I would like to know because it's not even just politics. I'll be seeing sometimes even sports. You'll have like a Tom Brady thumbnail and you have the red eyes on there.
So I actually just looked this up because I was very curious. It's called like the glowing eyes or laser eyes Photoshop meme. So this had to start like during Photoshop. This is what website is this? This is called knowyourmeme.com. They claim that it started back in 2010, so January 26, 2010. It was by the game Mass Effect 2 was released, in which the enemy Reaper ship causes collector enemy units' eyes to glow yellow when assuming direct control of them. Okay, so I guess it's like, and then it's spread with a page titled "Glowing Eyes on TV Tropes," and then from there it went on to Tumblr, and then it went on to 4chan, and I guess it spread
Oh,
onto Reddit, and it just spread like wildfire.
yeah, 4chan.
Fortune as well.
That doesn't have a great legacy.
Now there's a good documentary by Visual Venture. Like I found this guy's videos like last year, and he had like at the time he only had like 70 subscribers. I don't know how this came about, that this just came up. He does like video essays on like the issues with social media platforms. He did one on TikTok, the dangers of TikTok. He did one on 4chan, and it's really good. Reddit too. And yeah, he has this whole thing on 4chan if you want to watch it. It's really good.
All right, interesting. So the last thing we're going to talk about politically is Jordan Peterson and culture wars, just in general. So, what do you think about what I had to say in that Jordan Peterson rap where he's crying about being banned on Twitter?
I think you made a lot of solid points about uh, Mr. Peterson's hypocrisy. Um, Jordan Peterson's a guy who has kind of become like he's followed religion now for a little bit, and with his whole tweets centering around pride, pride as like the most deadliest sin in Catholicism. That's kind of like where he was coming from. How he was talking about the trans actor or actress. I forgot who the actor he was talking about.
Elliot Page.
Elliot Page. There you go, Elliot Page. Yeah, he was talking about Elliot Page, and how that was bothering him, and how like the whole sense of Pride Month was bothering him because he sees pride as the most deadliest sin. And then he whined about being kicked off of Twitter, or I don't even know what the whole. He was saying that something about him getting kicked off of Twitter and how he'd rather die or something like that.
Oh my goodness, that is so.
And yeah, it's crazy. It's
That's so
crazy.
over dramatic.
Yeah,
He'd rather die than delete a tweet.
but
That's all he had to do,
I
and
think
he would be still on Twitter. Yeah.
I think the thing is that for him, he doesn't want to succumb and he doesn't want to submit to the culture war. He doesn't want to be viewed as a loser to his um, followers because he has a lot of followers that see him as like a high value academic, where he has, I mean, he's an interesting guy. I think that modern day philosophers are always interesting to hear. But with him, he's kind of gotten like to a point where he's almost, he's gone a little radical, I guess. And this whole tweet, and this was just one episode with him where, I mean, he's had some really bad takes recently. I don't know if you've heard the whole controversy with him and like Islam.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh boy. So he like he did one on Christianity too. So he had like views. So he was getting a lot of viewers this year in the summer. He was doing videos on religion, on his coming to Christianity, and also him discussing a lot on Islam too. He noticed that a lot of his followers were from Muslim countries. They were Muslims, and he thought that he could maybe create like a video where he could be a savior, right? To like this whole he thinks that he
Oh
knows like
my.
all this stuff on like Islam and all the issues that go on. So he made a video about just targeting like I mean he had some things to say and he was happy that he first acknowledged that he was grateful to have followers who were also interested in like Christianity and all of that, and then he started saying some stuff that kind of ticked off the Muslim community a bit. There were a lot of reaction videos made about him and where he was getting things wrong and where he was, trying to generalize Islam as like he was saying some things that he was like, well, you Muslims should like watch out for radicals. And he was just saying some things. And then people were roasting him in the comments, like, don't ever say this stuff about the religion. You don't know who we are. And like, you don't know, like most of us are loving anyways. And you don't understand that. And you just follow what the media says about us. It was nasty. Like he was saying stuff that he probably shouldn't have made the video in my eyes. But I think the thing with him is that he thinks he knows a lot of stuff. And I think that curiosity, well, I wouldn't say curiosity, but I would say he's in a place where he thinks he's entitled to the point where he can say everything. And he thinks that his opinion is going to be like the only truth and all, when in reality, he doesn't know the full context of the situation. He doesn't know the full context of the religion. He doesn't even know who some of his followers are. And he also like has a lot of prejudice. And I think that sometimes, like with this video, for instance, he had a lot of preconceived notions that were untrue, which
And
got him in a lot of hot water.
and this is the guy people consider an intellectual. I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'm gonna stand by my video on what I say. Everything I've said about Jordan Peterson. I can't take this guy seriously when there's the video where I'm roasting him for his nonsense on what he had to say about Elliot Page, and then
Mhm.
what you just told me just now.
Yeah. This whole Elliot Page thing too. I mean, he made a whole stink out of nothing. I think it would have been better for him maybe to not even speak about this because I think he saw that there could be repercussions and there were. Um, and then he cries about it in his videos, which is, also shows you that he maybe lacks maybe some sort of responsibility, I think, which is quite interesting from him because he seems like he wants to be uh, one of virtue and one of morals when he sometimes deviates from those same talking points that he has. And yeah, you made a lot of good points in that video, calling him out for a lot of things and having like calling him out for why he's whining in the first place and making all these crazy things about, oh, I'd rather delete Twitter and die or something like that. And just that whole thing with Jordan Peterson. And I I don't know. I think that he was wrong here, and he's been wrong on a lot of issues as of recently.
That's the crazy thing about Jordan Peterson. All he had to do, if he wanted to keep tweeting again, all he had to do was press delete, and they would have put him back. It's so crazy how he talks about, oh, pride is a sin, but he's being the most prideful out of everybody
Mm-hmm.
by doing something like that. That's telling me how much pride you have. You can't take down a tweet because, oh, up yours, woke moralist.
Hope yours. Oh man, yeah, quite a interesting guy, to say the least. With him, again, it just comes down to his entitlement and pride. Like he can't he can't take no for an answer, which is an issue, and it's only gonna worsen with him. So, yeah, I definitely see no end in sight with Mr. Peterson. I think he's gonna continue going down this like he's gonna continue having these outbursts, and we're gonna see more videos of dear blank community. Like he'll just have those types of videos. He's gonna
Someone in the
continue doing it.
someone in the comment section said this. And I wonder what you have to say about this. This is his Joker phase.
Yeah, that is his Joker face. Like he is quite a he's kind of like a Joker in a way. Um he kind of is like a Joker, you know? And yeah, he's yeah, this is his phase, I think. Just the way he acts and how he's in denial about things and how he over exaggerates things. I do see that.
And another thing is he's a therapist, so that's just I don't even know what to say to that. He's a therapist and he's acting like this. He's the one that I don't want to be the guy that says, "Oh, you need help." Like he's the one that needs help compared to him giving help to other people.
Yeah, especially when you make a whole thing of somebody else's like decision to transition into the opposite sex, like crying about that. I mean, seriously, what does that show you about Mr. Peterson's character? What does that show you about his, morals and, his priorities? It shows you that maybe he needs to reconsider what he's doing on his platform and how he's using it.
That video was to me like some self snitching because the part where he's like, "Oh, by a criminal physician." Like I said in the video, I thought he was referring to the fact, like, an actual crime, like
Mhm.
a sex offender or something like that. But the fact that if you had doubts of him being prejudiced towards trans people before that video, he self snitched on himself. He was basically saying, I have a problem with them. I have a problem with trans people. They bother me.
Mhm. Yeah, that is clearly obvious that he has like a clear problem with certain groups of people. And I think he would have been better off if he maybe even made it a general video instead of specifying it on uh Elliot Page, maybe just saying like I think it would be better for him maybe to maybe become a little less controversial, maybe just do like Bible study videos or do videos where he discusses like morals and all that in his own way and he's not like targeting certain people because that's where he's going to get himself into hot water. And this video's a clear example of that.
So you want to do the grand finale now, which is
Yes.
the tier list?
Let's get into this grand finale.
All right.
Let's get this started. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mute this for a sec. I'm gonna charge my computer.
No worries. Let's pull this one up.
All right, so now we've got the grand finale. So to commemorate, yes, I believe 34 diss tracks now I've done. Some
Wow.
I've done repeat diss tracks on, like Jake Paul, I did 3 times actually. Tessie 2 times.
Tony
Young
DeYoung.
2 times. EDP 2 times. So in the total, it's 34 diss tracks. I believe it's. Do you notice the extra person I added in there?
Yes, Sneako.
Yeah, I'm not confirming I'm dissing him. I just want to put him on there because, since we talked about him, he was one of the headline stories to talk about for this podcast. So that's why I put him on this list, even though I haven't dissed him.
I'm just looking at this list, man. This is a hell of a group.
Yeah, just imagine if all those people were in the same room.
Oh my goodness. You would I think anyone would if they made like a Big Brother with all these people, this would be quite an interesting show.
This would be so funny.
Oh man, Influencer Island it should be called.
Yeah. So the first one we've got, this is not in the order that I've done the diss tracks in. This is the one that ordered that but the computer set up randomly. So the first one is we're gonna rate this kind of like how a teacher would rate a group project.
So yeah, okay. So S being
so
like
it's iDubbbz and his girlfriend.
Okay. So like with iDubbbz, I know that there was this whole like I know that Sam, who's it? Somebody was talking about this. Sam Hyde was discussing like iDubbbz and his girlfriend's like relationship or something like that. So that's the only reason why I know of iDubbbz. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with him.
Yeah, I don't. What happened? Because I changed. All right, so listen. Because I text you earlier that had a brat category as opposed to the letters. So let's just. I don't know what happened to that. Okay, you can just change it right there. Oh yeah, brat. Yep. So brat, that category is gonna be for people we don't really feel are scumbags. It's just that they're dissable. It's just they're not really scumbags.
Yeah. So where do you think iDubbbz should go? Do you think I don't think he's like in the S or A category.
No, I would say C, because if it was just iDubbbz by himself, I would put Brat, because the only thing I really had a problem with, I mean, the reason I did the diss track in the first place was because there was a trending situation 2 years ago where it was announced his girl did OnlyFans, and people were making all these jokes about it because I think it's because of the persona he plays.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like this guy that wouldn't seem to do something like that, be cool with, his girl doing an OnlyFans. So with iDubbbz, it would be more on the brat category, because there was a part where he was calling out his own fans. I'm not going to say, because we're keeping this clean. We're on some Kanye when he was doing his gospel albums, Donda and Jesus is King. We're keeping it clean over here for this video. But he said, let's just say it's a word for stupid, but it begins with an R.
Okay.
He was referring to it. He was saying, oh, these people, because he did a response video when like the whole situation first was emerging. And he was saying, what these people fail to understand is, and I don't know what he said, but the fact that he called his own people, the people that are the reason why he's not working a 9 to 5, because I said in one of my lyrics on that diss track that he's biting the hand that feeds him. Yes, they're not the ones that literally give him the money to eat, but when you're on a platform like YouTube, you need to have a subscriber count. You need to have at least 1,000 subscribers, and then this certain amount of hours watched on your videos in order to be monetized. So it really is up to the people, even though they're not giving you the money directly. They're the ones that are why you're going to be eating if you're on YouTube, because your audience is what makes your career, really.
Yeah.
And the fact that he did that, just calling his own fans stupid, because those are the people that were making fun of you, because they didn't think it was going to be like that when you had that persona that, oh man, I wouldn't be doing something like that. That's just what it get his vibe that with his videos. That's what it gave off to me, at least. And with his girlfriend, so I would say she's like in the low B, because if you listen to the diss track, when I took shots at her, there was one where I was saying that, because there was this video. If you type in iDubbbz girlfriend exposed on YouTube, I'll look that up. I'm gonna check that right now, because I found this video, and this girl was just exposing like a lot of these shady things that iDubbbz girlfriend has done. And one of them is that, like, she says that she had an eating disorder, but I think there was evidence, or there was statements that made her look contradictory and made what she was claiming not look legit. And then on top of that, I think she was toxic. She's toxic on the internet. So that's why I would have to, yep. If you type in, that's the first thing, is iDubbbz girlfriend, the sneaky snake of YouTube and Twitch. So that's why I would have to go C with iDubbbz, because iDubbbz and his girlfriend, because his girlfriend would be a B, and then iDubbbz would be in the brat category. So that's that medium area. That's why I would rate C for him and her.
Awesome.
All right. Bad baby. I had to get a more, more updated picture.
Oh yeah, she's changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So
weird.
Easily for me, easily. I don't know about you, but easily brat category.
Yeah, she's a brat.
That's literally the name. And besides that, that's literally the name of my red hair brat. You know, back when she actually had red hair. And she really hasn't done anything shady. It's just that her claim to fame is just like, really, man. But I think that's more so to blame us as a culture as opposed to her. Because she was just 13 years old, but still, she's a dissable person, though.
Yeah.
Because of the whole OnlyFans thing, she's a finesser.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely comes down to the culture. And yeah, she was growing up in a time when cloud chasing was like an Olympic sport. Like Adam 22 coined that. He's like, this is like an Olympic sport. And DJ Academic said that as well. And this was like 2016. So like this was right before Kid Buu and all these like weirdo rappers were coming up. And this was when Dr. Phil's show was having all these interesting folks on there. So yeah, I mean, she was young at the time too, so she can't be in the higher categories because of that.
All right, so this is, I mean, if you really think about the backstories for some of these people, it's dark, but I think this is the most darkest one.
Yeah, this is the worst.
Yeah, Brian Laundrie. So definitely S category.
Without question.
No doubt about it.
Without question.
We don't even need to have a discussion as to why. All right, Bryce Hall. I would say, what do you have to say? What would you say?
I mean, all I know him from is like the boxing matches and that he's a TikToker. That much, I don't know anything more about him. So from that, I'd probably say like C tier.
Yeah, that'd be about right, because I would say brat tier, but the fact that he made a false allegation on his manager, that's why I'd have to put him C tier, because that's another reason I put him C tier, because not that it justifies it. It was when he was like 17 years old, so I think he's more mature now. Actually, I think that him getting knocked out made him take a slice of humble pie, and
Oh yeah.
people are saying that he was likable now,
Hmm.
and he actually did an interview with Sneako, and people were saying I didn't watch the interview. I was looking at the comments, and people were saying I was pleasantly surprised. Bryce seems like an actual likable guy.
Hmm.
So that's why we're going with C for Bryce Hall.
All right,
All
next
right,
one is Charlemagne,
Charlemagne the
the
Fraud.
God.
That's probably the toughest one so far
Yeah.
because I'm between S and A tier.
Wow, that high up?
Yeah, because he calls himself a god, but then he Bill Cosby's a woman.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I think with him is that I was gonna say brat tier because I think he just has some bad takes, but I forgot all about this episode that he had and this whole like bad thing that he did. Yeah, the more I think about it, I think that the S tier right now should only go to the
Yeah,
bald Landry. So I'd say
A tier.
Charlotte. I'd say A tier.
All right, yeah, that's fair enough.
Oh boy. Oh
Chris
my
Chan,
god. This
all
could be an S
S
tier.
tier,
S tier.
definitely S tier because
Oh
he
my
did it with his
gosh.
own mother. You know
Yeah.
what? You know what's crazy about that?
What?
I was watching. You ever hear the commentator of Birdman?
I think I've heard of the name. I've just never probably watched. I probably have ran into one of their videos, but I probably haven't watched it. Like I haven't watched their channel.
So he made a video, and I think it was related to incest actually.
Oh my god.
So it was a bizarre situation. Not as disgusting as what Chris Chan did, but he was saying actually in New Jersey, and that's why I said it in my line, even in New Jersey where he could, do the deed legally. That's what makes it even more twisted what Chris Chan did. Because even if you were in New Jersey, it's crazy. If you're
Mhm.
both above, I don't know what the age of consent's over there, but if you're both above the age of consent, if it's fair game. In New Jersey, anything's fair game, really.
What the heck? I did not know
Seriously,
that. I did not know
yeah.
that. That
He
is so
he
weird.
he brought that up. No one. Yeah, this is about to be a low blow, but Jersey Shore. No wonder. No wonder the place where incest is legal. That's where Jersey Shore came from. No wonder. But yeah, that's what makes it so twisted. Because even if Chris Chan was in New Jersey, she can't get consent because his mom has dementia.
That's horrible.
So it's just real disgusting.
That's
Uh,
disgusting.
yeah. All right. Soldier
Soldier
Boy.
boy.
Huh. I would. Huh.
I think maybe
I
we
I want to go low B tier, but I could go for C. What do
I'm
you have
saying
to say?
C. I think
Yeah,
C
let's go
too.
C. Who we have? I would say I would put him a. I would put him ahead of Bryce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Drake Bell. Oh no, no,
Oh man.
man. Oh, are you serious? I swear to you, I did not. I didn't design it like this. This was randomly picked.
Oh
They
my
really
gosh.
have them next. They really have what like my disc. Are you
Oh my
serious?
gosh. By the way, that
They
had to be that disc was wild, dude. Like when I heard that came out, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That has to be I think that's my favorite disc.
for me, I would say it's up. It's up there because it's just 5 minutes of me just bashing them. 5 straight minutes just bashing them.
I loved it. Like, and you chose Dave's Mercury beat. Like that song, like Dave is one of my favorite artists. So the fact that you chose that beat was like, oh my gosh, that was even better.
You know, I'm gonna tell you this story. Actually, I'm gonna tell you this story. I did tell you about it. I was planning to do. I'm still doing it. It's just because it takes a video like that. That's gonna take a lot because I'm gonna really go deep into when it comes to like annotating the lyrics.
Yep.
So I'm gonna tell you on how this track came together. So Drake Bell, around this time last year, he was going through that situation with the girl saying that he did funny business with her. And then EDP, of course, I was coming for a cupcake. And then the thing is, even though he's on 4K saying that he did this, that he was being sexual with a minor, he's still, weeks later, he's acting like nothing ever happened. He's acting like the tough guy EDP. So I just felt that it made sense for those to go together because I'm just shaking my head like, really, man? You're really pulling the tough guy EDP persona when you were shaking in your boots when Alex Rosen and CC Unit came and confronted you. Now you're gonna be acting like, oh, what's popping, guys?
Oh man,
he sounds like. This is the thing about EDP. He sounds like he's trying to, when he does his EDP videos, he sounds like he's trying to imitate a Boondocks character.
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So I came up with this idea to diss them, and originally, actually, I was thinking of rapping over the remake to Drake's song, Two Birds, One Stone. But I wrote a lot of bars, so the song's just under 4 minutes, the instrumental, and actually it connects together because my dad has Sirius Radio, so Drake actually has a station there, and Mercury was one of the songs that was playing.
Oh,
and I feel like it really has like a Drake vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it was longer. It was something that I felt I could just go off on bars wise because I had a lot more written than what I was planning for Two Birds, One Stone. And that's how the Two Petals, One Stone came, because it was inspired by Drake's title, and that's how the R. Kelly line came: Two petals, one stone. My aim's amazing. Because
dude, that's such a good line. Because that has to be one of the best lines I've heard.
Yeah, because Drake on the original of Two Birds, One, it's an interpolation because Drake said, "Two birds, one stone. My aim's amazing. I need to lose my bleep on you bleeps that's hating." So then I flipped it. I said, "Two petals, one stone. My aim's amazing." R. Kelly's, you know the rest of it. Yeah.
Wow. That was when you had that like bar, and then you had that meme of the GTA guy jumping off of the roof. That was like, oh my gosh. I died laughing when I saw that. And then you had those like the memes on like TikTok of EDP getting the water, and then there was like that guy like confronted him. That was like that was so funny.
Yeah, that was funny. The intro clip where Drake does like the intro for Drake and Josh. He was saying, "Oh, take my daughter out."
Oh, I love that one too. Show my niece a good time. Oh man.
This is a tough one because I don't want to just like put a whole bunch of people in S tier.
Yeah.
But man, it's really hard to not say Drake is S tier.
Yo, EDP too. He's had some other things as well. Like didn't he have this whole controversy with like sliding into DMs of underage kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, it's so
several times.
Yeah, wasn't that Raven guy? What's his name?
Yeah, Cold Raven.
Cold Raven. Yeah, he had a whole video on that.
You know what's crazy about that? he contributed to the depth of his career, and then he was just, for his main channel at least, he was just like the SpongeBob meme. All right, I'm gonna head out.
That's crazy. And didn't EDP make a return recently?
He tries, but eventually his account gets deleted.
Wow.
He tries and tries. You know what's funny? I heard that I don't know what platform, but apparently he wants people to pay $50 to see him do a live stream of the Eagles opening day game.
Oh my goodness.
$50 to see him do a reaction.
Oh no. No. That's horrible. Wow.
So what will you say for Drake?
Oh, I'm thinking A tier.
Okay, I would put him ahead of Charlemagne.
Yeah, I'd definitely put him ahead of Charlemagne. And I think EDP, he's between that as well. S and A. He might be a little bit worse than Drake, in my opinion.
I think he's actually. I think he's a. I don't want to be saying he's better, but he's not as bad because I don't think he's actually done anything with kids. I think he's just messaged them. So I'm gonna put. So we're still gonna have Drake ahead of EDP.
Okay, so we'll put him right here.
Yeah,
okay. That sounds good actually.
All right. K Fed.
Oh,
boy. Shout out to the Pancake Man. because that's how he found out about my channel. Because I've seen him. Because I'll be looking up other Kevin Federline videos, and he'll be commenting on them. So that's how I'm pretty sure that's how he found out about my channel.
Yeah, K-Fed, what in the world? I didn't even know about him until like you made that video. Yeah. I had no idea he like made music in that Popa Zao song and that he was Britney Spears' baby daddy. I had no idea. That was like long before my time.
I was looking just on who did this, and I think it started because I was looking at Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. And there's actually like a Wikipedia page that says, what is it? It literally says albums or something like that. Albums or songs considered the worst.
Oh man!
And Kevin Federline was one of them. And then I seen the Metacritic critic score because there's like the critic score and then there's the user score. Yep. The critic score is 15. I think that's the lowest. That might be like the lowest ever for Metacritic history.
That's horrible. Wow. Now, I'd probably say he's on the lower C, or maybe he's a brat.
Yeah, I would say I'd put him ahead of Bryce Hall.
Okay. So he's on the lower end.
Yeah.
There we go. Who is this guy?
Pretty Boy Fredo.
Okay. That's Pretty Boy Fredo. I didn't know like he was wearing a Juventus shirt, so I couldn't tell who it was at the beginning. Okay.
All right. Pretty Boy Fredo. I'd probably say C again.
C.
Maybe again. I'd say ahead of Bryce Hall.
Okay. So Bryce is gonna be he's gonna be one of the good guys.
Yeah.
Or at least less bad, I guess.
because he's done things like cheat on his girl, and I gotta actually refresh my memory. I'm looking up because the diss tracks, if I don't remember stuff, I could always just use that as a frame of reference because the lyrics tell the story as to why I dissed them pretty much. So I'm just gonna look that up for a second.
I think the hook was like TikTok, your fame's running out.
Yeah, for Bryce Hall, but Pretty Boy Fredo, okay. Yeah. his pranks, they're scripted. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. I said so mad he makes Trump look well balanced. Your talent's like your sanity. I can't find it. He's
Ooh.
the type to say that blacks can't be racist, but say I'll slap the white out of you the next minute. Oh,
man.
I forgot about that. So yeah, that's about right with Pretty Boy Fredo, because you heard of a Quadeca?
Yeah, Quadeca, the rapper who did
Yeah, because he legit stole this video idea from Quadeca. His video was making somebody a famous rapper in 24 hours or something like that. And
okay.
he stole like the whole concept of it. And when Quadeca was just asking him about it in the comments, he was saying, "I'll slap the white out of you." And the thing is, Quadeca said he's Latino, I think.
Yeah.
So saying that it just makes yourself look foolish.
That's wild.
I'm just looking up at the lyrics. So he said about, oh yeah, he said he said he had COVID, but I'm suspicious of that because he went to a fan meetup during the prime of the pandemic. Hundreds of people there. So it's interesting that he says, "Oh, I got COVID," but then he does that.
That's wild.
And then I said that he's Pokemon's future husband because they're both sensitive. Yeah.
That's
just refreshing my memory as to why I dissed him in the first place. So yeah, that's about right. C tier. All right, Ghetto Ace. Yep, Ghetto Ace some more. Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh man. He's A tier, but
I'd say maybe in front of Charlotte.
Is he worse than EDP? That's the question. I don't know. I'm gonna say he's below EDP.
Yeah, I'd say he's below EDP as well.
Because at least and he's pathetic too, but at least he hasn't been on the level of pathetic that EDP is on.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
$50 for a live stream.
He's an e-beggar.
Yeah.
He's just asking for money.
J Station.
Oh, is this the guy that
Yeah, he
faked his girlfriend's death?
And then he beats his girl too, so
I would
horrible.
say,
and then he makes these BS fake videos, like one of them, "Oh, I talked to Jesus. I'm a guy that doesn't even have 1 million subs." This was at the time he did this video. "I'm a guy that doesn't even have 1 million subs, but you know what? I'm gonna say that I talked to Jesus, and people are definitely gonna believe me, bro."
Damn.
So yeah, I'd say A tier.
Another totally A tier,
yeah.
Where'd you say though? Like where exactly?
I'd say net after EDP actually.
Okay.
Yeah, ahead of EDP.
Ahead of EDP?
Yeah, because he legit beat his girl. So EDP, he did text with minors, but I don't think he's ever actually done any funny business. All right, Jussie Smollett, the gay Tupac. I would say B tier.
Yeah, B. I think faking that hate crime was very serious.
Yeah, that's serious, but I wouldn't. But I would say everybody on A tier has done worse things than him. So
and
I'd say B tier.
Horrible.
Yeah.
This is kind of looking like a soccer team. You got the 2 defenders in the back. We got our 4 offensive people, and then you got our guy who's the striker.
All right, Kyrie Irving.
Wow.
First ever diss track.
The hell's the first one?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Kyrie.
I would just say brat.
Yeah, I'd say he's a brat too. I don't think he should be a part of any of these folks.
Yeah, because outside of basketball, he hasn't really done anything.
Nah, he hasn't. Yeah, he's not really bad in that area.
Yeah, and besides that, people say, I mean, besides like the drama he gets into when it comes to basketball related stuff, people say he's a smart guy. I don't know, but yeah, so yeah, Brad is appropriate, I'd say.
Right. Lael Hansen.
Yeah, another brat because she didn't really do anything. It's just corny when you're acting like the wannabe Billie Eilish, and then she has this fake sob story about, oh, I'm from the middle of nowhere. And a lot of people were roasting her on TikTok. She lives in Vancouver, and she's saying she's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, she is I have like seen some of her like reaction videos in the past. And then when I saw like a video made about her where she like faked her whole like past to like claim that she's like this hardworking musician that had a tough upbringing, it's like, okay, I think she's just trying to fit a narrative with her come up story. Yeah.
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 All
That
right.
all right. This is Jody Arians simp.
Yeah. Lefty. You know what's
Lefty.
funny? You know what's
Yeah.
funny about that? His channel got deleted.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's a rapper too, right?
Yeah. Not anymore, though. I don't think.
Lefty. Where do
I
you
would.
think
I'd say B
B tier? Okay.
because he's defending a murderer for clout.
That's
Like
actually
really,
pretty bad. Do you think you should go before Jussie or after him?
I would say, yeah, Jesse's ahead of him
Okay.
because what Jesse did that really just messes it up when it comes to like the race narrative when you do something like that.
Mhm.
All right, Lil Pump,
Wow.
a brat.
Yeah,
He really hasn't. He really hasn't done anything. I just find him doing the whole Donald Trump thing when his demographic clearly aren't fans or not. I wouldn't even say that. They just don't care about politics. And what are you trying to do? What are you accomplishing by being a supporter of Trump? Who? What you think? You think Republicans? You think right wingers, hillbillies are gonna be like Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang?
that's a good point.
What is he doing? I would say I would put him. Yeah, I would actually put him ahead of Lalo.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Lori Laughlin and her
and
daughter,
yeah. So
Olivia.
we're doing like a group thing like what teachers do. All right. So Lori Laughlin, I'd say B tier.
Yeah, I'd say
And
B tier too. Gets into legal trouble. I'd probably put her like
yeah,
right
that's
here.
about right because us being around the age of college students, doing something like that just puts a bad taste in our mouths because it's not like well we're in their position, and it really is like a slap in the face to people that actually worked hard. So
Mhm.
imagine this: you busted your butt off
Mhm.
to get to USC, and then you get rejected because they picked a girl that had her mom cheat her way in the school. That is just so screwed.
Yeah, it's so sad, honestly, and it's kind of alarming that these like rich people can just buy their way into like really good schools when their students, like when their kids are like just like average students, and then there's students that really work hard, maybe aren't as fortunate enough as these celebrities, and at the end of the day they get the short stick because the rich person wins. It's so sad.
Yeah. All right, Jake Paul. Man, I could go either high B tier or low A tier.
I think his early stuff with Team 10 makes him a scumbag, but
Yeah.
I don't know now. Like I haven't heard too much about him ever since like he started boxing, and he hasn't really gotten into like the same issues as he did.
Yeah, that's true.
But
He still does scams though,
oh, he
but
does.
yeah, I would. You know what? We're gonna. We'll put him ahead of Jesse.
Okay.
We'll have him a high B tier.
High B tier.
Sam Pepper. Oh man, he's definitely A tier, but there's a part of me that wants to put him in S tier.
So he did the whole like lassoing women, right?
Yeah. This is the thing about it. This is because even though it's allegations or whatever, this is why I believe he did it. Because first off, he's groping women's bottoms in public on camera. So imagine what imagine what he would be doing off of camera.
That's scary.
If he's willing to do that on camera, what is he going to do off camera? So I believe it when these women say that he did something to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the fence with A tier or S tier, but he's for sure A tier. It's just a matter of.
I'd probably put him a high A because has he been convicted?
Oh yeah. No, he's never been like actually convicted. So
these folks are already convicted.
Yeah, that's a good rating. Yeah, A tier. Yep, Pokey rating. Man, I'd say C tier because you know what? Because this didn't even happen. Gideon? Yeah, he wasn't even in the picture when I made the diss track, but
they made up though.
But at the same time, she's the Well, I mean, people could say, "Oh, he's responsible for his actions," but at the same time, if she didn't have her reaction saying, "Oh, he needs to get blocked" or whatever, then I don't think Gideon would be in the position he's in. She really can't take criticism. She'll censor anybody that tries to criticize her. So I'll put her ahead of Pretty Boy Fredo.
Okay.
You know, because it just matches since I did say on my Pretty Boy Fredo diss track that Pokemon is his future wife.
Right. Who's this?
Oh, I did put that accidentally twice for Pretty Boy Fredo.
I could just put him next to Pretty Boy Fredo.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of fitting because he's full of himself. So that might have actually worked to have two of those because he is full of himself. So let's put two of them together.
Yeah. We'll put a smile on his face. Oh, Rice Gum's next.
I'd say B tier because he had that whole situation. I didn't even mention it in the diss track, but he had that situation where he was making a joke with a girl that actually got raped.
Oh my God. Where though in B tier?
Yeah, I'd say ahead of Lefty.
Okay.
Because he hasn't done any like actual crimes or whatever. It's just that he's a generic e-boy. Yeah, I'm flexing, man, and just just entitled.
Yeah, he's
Sienna May.
Oh boy,
man, A tier, I'd say. Yeah.
Do you think she would go like where in A?
Oh man, I would say, I'd say ahead of EDP.
Okay, that's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, disclaimer: this is not. If you think this is us like viewing morals and all this is just for fun. We're not doing this seriously to be like, oh, this is what I feel is morally the wrong or what's worse or this or that. This is not just for that. We're just doing this out of good fun. This is not anything to be like, oh, to be like a deeper discussion about morals or anything like that. So if there's anything you disagree with, this is just to let you know we're not doing this as like some philosophical experiment.
Yeah, we're not Jordan Peterson clones, you know.
Silento, I put him ahead of Brian Laundrie, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I would, because first off, he's chasing his girl with a hatchet, abusing her, and then he murders his cousin. So I'd put him ahead of Brian Laundrie.
Yeah, that actually, I keep on forgetting he did the whole hatchet thing too.
Yeah.
Oh man, Cold Feet Karate.
Yeah.
We actually had we did a whole we had a 3-hour like way back with the Peace and Chaos program last year and a half ago now. We had a 3-hour like stream on like the Steven Crowder Cold Feet situation and like the H3 thing. But I would probably, my idea would be maybe in the C category.
Yeah, I would say, I'd say ahead of Kevin Federline.
Right there. Oh man, look who's next.
Playmate Testy. Oh man.
Is it me or does she look a little like Tony DeYoung? They look a little similar. They look a little similar. Oh man. Oh, she is horrible, dude.
I'd say A tier.
A tier, yeah. I think bullying
yeah,
a cancer patient was horrible.
Yeah.
And also like the way that she was also on the Dr. Phil show. And she also was disrespectful to her dad, and I think she's all doing it for clout and stuff like that. So I would probably put her like lower A though.
Yeah, ahead of Charlemagne, I'd say.
Charlemagne, okay.
Tony DeYoung.
I don't think he hasn't done like anything like bad. I think it's more of his just like what a failure he is in a way.
There are pedo allegations actually, but
really?
I never actually said anything about those because there's this supposed I'm not saying he did or didn't do anything, but there's this supposed paper that says like what he was convicted of, but the weird thing is it says it oh it was on this year, but as you see, I think it was like on the bottom of the paper, it says a year before his conviction even happened. It said like copyright, and then it said like 2012. So I don't know. I'm not saying he did or didn't. I'm just going off the information I do know. So I'm just gonna say I'm gonna put him high B tier.
I mean, you and him also have a history too.
yeah. I'd say high B tier because you suck at rap, and you still suck at rap even though you picked rap over your kids. That's sad.
That is horrible. That is
deadbeat father.
Deadbeat father is correct.
He's what Drake would have been if Pusha T never made the diss track.
I know, now everyone's watching whether Drake is gonna be a father for his kid.
Yeah, Zoe Laverne.
Oh man,
that's A tier.
Probably with Sienna May, I'd put her.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I'll put her ahead of Sienna May. And the last one, Sneako.
Sneako, wow. I don't know. Like, has he ever done a crime?
No. It's just what he's been doing as of late. That's just why I put him on. Just like being buddy with a racist. His creativity kit scam.
I mean, he's not as bad as some other folks.
I think
he's a brat or C.
I'd say I'd put him. Let's see, maybe Yeah, I would say ahead of Bryce Hall.
Okay. Oops, one more. There we go. Oh my goodness, what a list! We have the big three at the top, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that is, I have to say, and A tier too is stacked as well.
yeah.
Wow, and then what a tier list though. This is just amazing.
Yeah, this is the class of 2022. Or,
the class of 2022. Who would be the valedictorian?
Silento, because he's the top of the list.
Okay, and then the valedictorian would be Mr. Laundry.
And then Christian.
And then the this would be the lowest of the class. Wow.
Yeah, but this is kind of like golf where it's backwards, where, being in the negatives is better.
Yeah, that's true. So Lale Hansen won, and Lil Pump and Kyrie and Bad Baby. Wow, look at that. They're the leaders. Silento, though. Wow.
I want to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you can go.
Oh, I want to say something about Silento because I got a little mini story about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, oh wow, it's crazy because it's almost set. It's gonna be because it was Labor Day weekend, 2015, and this is when the "Watch Me Whip" Nene song was popping.
Mhm.
So it was my cousin's wedding, right? And this is one of the songs they were playing, and I'm thinking about it because it's like what I said on my first diss track. It's just watch me whip, watch me nay. That was the whole song.
Mhm.
Oh, do the Superman. And then my dad, he asked, "Oh, who's this? Who's this artist?" I'm thinking, did he have a? I was sitting at the table with them, but I don't know. Maybe he had some drinks to make him think this song was good. I'm just thinking, what? You think this song? I mean, to each their own with your opinions, but you think this song is good?
It was catchy, though. I think that was the main reason why, like, people liked it. And, like, there was a dance, too. And that's what, like, went viral. And that's what helped the song get a lot of streams.
Oh, I just thought about it. It's quite fitting, actually, because, Silenzo, so it's fitting that he is on S tier as well.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, this is, like, such a great group of people. I mean, you have, like, them from all walks of life.
Yeah. From all types of backgrounds as well.
Yeah.
You got Lalo from Canada. You got Lil Pump, a SoundCloud rapper. You got Kyrie, who thinks he's some like Jordan Peterson type dude, some intellectual. You got Bad Baby, who finessed her way into having a career, and then when she got old enough, finesse Simpson to giving her money.
And then you got some rappers too. You got the wannabe Eminem with Tony DeYoung. You have Silento. And you also have Lefty, who's a simp for a murderer.
Yeah.
And then you also have Soldier Boy, who who's been known to have rants with Charlemagne as well.
I don't know how you would feel about this, but the craziest thing is the best rapper out of every person that raps on here is Lil Pump.
Damn, that's kind of, yeah, I would say him or Soldier Boy.
I would say Lil Pump because I feel like he has better flows though.
Yeah, he actually does have better flows. I think they're simplified, but they probably
They're
would.
catchy.
If you had to force this whole group to make a song together, Lil Pump would probably be like the star rapper on the list.
Yeah, because you can say what you want about Gucci Gang, but I think that's a real catchy song.
Yeah, actually, I liked his verses.
Yeah.
They were like simplified, but again, they were like, I love like the line where he goes, your breath smells like some cigarettes. You probably live in a tent.
Me and your grandma take meds.
People used to play that song so much. That was when like Kodak was coming up, and I had a song analysis like course at my high school, and there was a student that played Lockjaw by Kodak in French Montana. And I just remember the teacher was like so confused by the song. He's like, "Oh, now we have to analyze the lyrics." And the student was trying to like explain them and he couldn't. And then someone else had Lil Pump come up and he did the song D Rose. And we watched the music video and it was amazing. It was so funny. And then like the next project, our teacher's like, okay, no more rappers. So people were like just trying to claim that Chance the Rapper wasn't a rapper. So they were like choosing Chance's like soul music and all that. But it was so funny when we watched D Rose. It was so wild.
Yeah, that's something in itself that that high schoolers are having their. How old was your teacher about?
Oh, he had to be like close to 60, close to retirement.
So
He's probably between like
that's
60
crazy.
and 65. And he
So
never heard of these people.
You had a baby boomer listening to Lil Pump. Now that's something in itself.
It was so funny though. Like, imagine all these like Gen Zers like at this high school, and like they're all like they all grow up on the SoundCloud era, and then you have this teacher teaching the class, and he grew up on like probably like soul music and classic rock. So there's a huge cultural divide.
Yeah.
It was funny though. I like that class a lot.
I'm just looking at this list and just thinking, oh, oh my. Just imagine if if all of these personalities were in the same school.
Wow, whoever goes to that school is gonna have so many stories to tell. Like,
Oh yeah.
imagine you're in class with like Chris Chan, and then you're next to Crowder as well, and then you need two pretty boy Fredos. Oh my goodness.
Dude, before we finish this off, do you want to do like a fun little like superlative thing with these?
Okay. Okay, what would be a good superlative to start? Most likely to succeed.
Man, that's a man. That
How
okay.
about maybe most likely to what would be a good one? Um Maybe most likely to get arrested at a Dunkin' Donuts.
Huh? Tony DeYoung for sure. Because there's actually a picture. I did show it on my content cut. There's a picture of him working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin', yeah, he works there.
Yeah, the broke boy millionaire. Yeah, I get millions, bro, but I still work at Dunkin' Donuts as a cashier. Not taking a shot at anybody that works at Dunkin'. It's just hilarious when you claim to be a millionaire, but you're working a job that just pays above minimum wage.
How about what would be another superlative?
Most okay, let's see. Most likely to be a failure.
This is hard because they're clearly a few.
I'd say ghetto ASMR.
I was thinking that too, or J Station.
Here's why I say ghetto ASMR, because I seen a clip of him where he was bragging about something he did in high school when he's a 30-year-old man. And someone was saying in the comments, this is the epitome of someone that peaked in high school.
I'd say J Station because him making all this content on
Oh yeah,
fake deaths and stuff, like he's just begging for attention. It feels like he probably begged all that attention that he got was probably it all lasted in high school, and now for the rest of his life he'll just be just saying all this crazy outlandish stuff, trying to get all the attention that he got. Okay, I have a good one. Most likely to join a circus.
I want to say Tony DeYoung again.
What would he do?
Uh, he'd be the clown trying to rap. So basically, just what he's doing right now, pretty much. But if I had to pick someone else besides Tony, I'd say maybe Sandpepper.
What would he do?
He would be like the perverted. He'd be like the perverted clown. He'd be trying to like feel up on women.
All the mothers in the under the tent would have to run away.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh man. I was kind of thinking of Crowder because he could have his act called the disappearing Crowder. Where he could like show up at one point, say oh no, and then run away. Like never be seen again. That's what I would think for him. Oh, let's see, what's another super relative to do?
Let's see. Most likely to win an Oscar.
Hmm. Um, I would probably say
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse Smollett. Yeah. How about most likely to scam millions?
Scam millions, huh? That's a good one because I could go with Sneako, Kevin Federline. You know what? We're going with Kevin Federline because he got that child support.
That's a good one again. Most likely to write a children's book.
Oh, that is I feel like Lil Pump for some reason
I think
would
Lil
be the
Pump
one.
or maybe EDP with some like weird.
Oh
Be like a weird one.
no!
Now, on a serious note, I could also see like Steven Crowder trying to like,
Oh, that's true because Matt Walsh did that.
yeah, he could go down the Matt Walsh route. Yeah, I'd say probably like if I was being a clown, I'd say EDP, but maybe you'll actually like Lil Pump as well, or maybe Pretty Boy Fredo saying like saving himself, or Soldier Boy explaining who he was. I don't know.
Yeah, he'd be writing the book. Oh, I was the first to do this. I was the first to do that. Drake.
And then this one is only for people who have been arrested, most likely to be like the most entertaining in the prison cells.
Oh man, that's a okay. So
That'll be
silent.
Christian Silento. I think Jussie might be serving right now.
Yeah, if Jesse's in jail, definitely Jesse.
I feel like Silento though could like have like do a rap concert, but he probably like it would not work. And then like with Chris Chan, he could probably like or she could probably explain like their weird books about like Sonicachu and like all these like
Yeah.
weird like the book that they wrote when they were younger. Yeah, it'd be so weird though.
Who? Oh, I got one. Who
Yep.
is most likely to be TikTok famous?
Oh boy. Let me Bryce Hall.
Yeah.
Sienna May or the other one there. But besides that,
Outside of the TikTokers.
outside of the TikTokers, I
Hmm.
could probably see like Jake Paul or Rice Gum
Yeah.
because they're already like they already have followings.
Yeah. I would agree with that, Jake Paul.
Most likely to write a diss track on Eminem.
Oh man, all of these superlatives. I just think Tony DeYoung would do something like that, or if the game was on this,
Oh yeah, the game.
or if the game was on this, we would say the game because he already made one.
That is true. Yeah, he just made that one. How about most likely to join the NBA?
outside. We'll X out Kyrie because obviously
Yeah,
he's in the
not
NBA.
Kyrie.
Huh?
Who
I'd
could you
say
see?
Rice Gum
Rice Gum?
because I think he's like 6 feet something actually.
Hmm. Yeah, actually, that would be an interesting one. I was probably gonna say like Bryce Hall because he's pretty athletic, or Jake Paul. But now that I think about it, it would be interesting to see Getaway Samar in the league.
Oh man, he would. How many tentacles he would get?
He's like, like there's that clip of him punching the punching bag.
Yeah.
Him and Patrick Beverly would get into it. Like,
Oh, imagine if Ron Artest was he was in the era of Ron
oh,
Artest.
oh my gosh. Oh, or Dennis Rodman. He like shoves Dennis Rodman, or Serge Ibaka too. Like, gets him angry, or even Djokovic. If he gets Joker angry, oh my god, he's gonna
Yeah.
go right through the floorboards. Wow. Most likely to get roasted, like be on a roast,
Most likely to be on a
like a
roast.
comedy roast.
Yeah, okay. I feel like Jake Paul would be that guy.
Oh yeah, he would probably be up there. And most likely to be a Karen at a fast food restaurant.
Pokey.
What would she whine about?
Sh- what's she whine about? Oh, she got the wrong size of fries. Something like that.
That's a good one. Yes, this class has a lot of characters.
Yeah. Okay. Most likely to go to Harvard.
I think Lil Pump because he wanted to go.
Yeah. I would say for serious, I would say iDubbbz.
Is he actually smart?
Yeah.
He is okay. Let's see. Trying to think of one. Most likely to run for public office.
I'm thinking between they're right on top of each other. I would between Jesse and Crowder.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I could see Crowder. Could you see like Jay Station running for president?
Oh my goodness, his campaign would be saying I contacted Jesus. I know the way to the light.
How would Drake Bell? How would he do?
He'd be. You know how people say about like Joe Biden, like he's creepy around little girls.
Mhm.
That's how he'd be around teenage girls. He'd be
So
like, he'd be if he sees teenage girls, he'd be all up in their space, making them real uncomfortable.
I think Playmate Bessie would be entitled to run for president. She would seem like she'd want to run.
Oh, now that you bring that up, there was actually like a live stream where she was talking about politics for some reason.
Oh my gosh. That's
She was
scary.
talking about like China.
Oh my god.
So yeah, just imagine Playmate Bessie.
That's horrible.
Like I think that capitalism is bad, and socialism, that's like the new wave.
She'd say
Like
social.
you know what I mean?
She'd probably think like socialism is like supporting social media. So she'd be like, if our economy runs on social media, then we're socialist. It's like
Yeah.
that's not how it works. Tessie. And then she'd have her she'd probably have that guy there who makes like basketball videos. He'd be like her running mate.
Yeah, Gento.
Gento.
That's crazy how that. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I could not believe that was because it's so random. Out of all people, Gento is the one that in her live chat.
And it's crazy. There's only like 7 people in the live. There was not a lot of people in our live. Yeah, that was weird. And like the chat had like nobody, so it was like you could just see Gento just commenting. And it was so strange. Like, what in the world? Who do you think they'd run against though? Like on this list, who else would run? Do you think Sneako would probably try to run?
Yeah. He'd
Sneako,
be
do you think?
like, yeah, he'd be like, this woman right there this is an example of why women in the West are becoming bad.
Oh man, that would be a hell of a that'd be a crazy election cycle. You'd have people like leaving the US like, what's going on?
that wouldn't make anything better when it comes to baby boomers, how certain baby boomers feel about Gen Zers. If you were to have those two, that would just reaffirm what they feel about Gen Zers and millennials.
Yeah, that's true. Like they'd actually be right at this point.
Oh, I got one. Most likely to do a collaboration with Tupac.
Jussie.
Yeah.
Jussie.
If
I'd
that were to
totally
ever happen, it would be he gets dissed on a song he's featured on.
Oh yeah, there'd be like sneak disses in the first
Yeah.
verse, and then the second verse would be him without even knowing it.
It'd be like what Kendrick did on Control, where he's on the song with the guys, but then he's name dropping them and saying he's better than them.
That's crazy. Yeah, Kendrick took a chance on that one. Let's see here. Most likely to trying to see. Most likely to show up on the next actually no. Um Damn, I kinda don't know now. Kinda lost. Don't know which one to say.
Most likely to be an Olympic sprinter.
Ooh. Um I think that most likely to be a cowboy would have to be Sam Pepper. Because he can already lasso women into him, so yeah. But a sprinter? I don't know on this one.
Definitely not EDP
Nah.
or Lefty.
Yeah, definitely not them too. Brian Laundrie seems like he could maybe run a race. But if not him, maybe Jake Paul or Kyrie.
Yeah.
Um most likely to star in the worst ever movie.
Oh, I'd say Drake Bell because he was already in a pretty bad movie. It was like one of those like comedy spoof movies where they spoof like all sorts of movies
Mhm.
that are popular at the time it comes out. I think it was called Disaster Movie, and that a lot of people said that. A lot of critics said that movie was bad.
Let's see another one. Maybe most likely to write a maybe write like a autobiography about themselves.
I feel like Jake Paul would be that kind of guy to do something like that. It'd just be him. It'd just be him just stroking his own ego the entire time.
Yeah, he Jake would definitely do that. And how about most likely to create a cult?
Sneako, by far.
How about
Because he's already doing it as we speak, pretty much.
how about it's another one. Damn, I'm kind of forget. I don't know any others like right now. I think I think most of these folks though are clearly characters in their own rights.
Yeah.
That's why those disses have been so fun, because you don't just pick like rappers or streamers. You choose everyone.
Yeah. TikTokers, guys that are closer to my level when it comes to clout on the internet. Rappers, actors, basketball players.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, let's save this because this is a moment in history right here. Just seeing all these people and all these faces together for the class of 2022.
The Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, you have the round Mount Rushmore with Silento, Brian Laundrie, and Chris Chan.
The big three.
I will. Yeah, don't. You can't say this about any other YouTuber on this platform where they could figure a way to put these three figures together.
I can't think anyone else. Even that next line is some great talent on there as well.
Yeah.
Wow. What a squad. This would be a great football team.
Oh yeah. What position would EDP be?
He'd have to be a lineman. We'd have the two best. He'd be the center. He'd be a left tackle. Our wide receiver would probably be Jake Paul. Sneako could be a wide receiver. Our running back would probably be Lil Pump or Kyrie. And then our cornerbacks would
I'll
probably.
say for quarterback, I'd say Kyrie.
Yeah, I actually would Kyrie.
Because point guard is kind of like the quarterback. It's like kind of like the equivalent to a quarterback in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think would be a good linebacker?
A linebacker, huh? I don't know. Maybe Crowder.
And who do you think would lead the team in sacks?
Yeah, maybe Crowder.
Okay. What a team. Yeah, we gotta acknowledge this. This is a masterpiece.
Yeah, just imagine right now. All right, it's time for you to throw your caps in. You have officially graduated. You know what? Play the graduation song for a minute.
Let me go get it really quick.
So we can commemorate this moment in history. From, I guess you could call this the whatever university.
Let me play it for like 2 seconds. Let me see. I may have to reshare screen real quick. Whoops. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip this. Technical difficulties here, but we're gonna get it up. Do you hear that?
Yeah, because they deserve it.
Let me reshare. I think I can share my. I can share my sound. Okay, this should work now. Let me see.
And for valedictorian, we've got Silento.
Give it up for your class of
2022.
2022. That was a lot of fun, though.
Oh yes, definitely. So, anything you want to say before we cap this off? No pun intended, because we just got the graduation of the class of 2022.
Yeah, honestly, that was a lot of fun. Just in general, I would just say, like, again, yeah, these have been a lot of fun diss tracks that you've done. Just as someone who watches your content and who really likes it, I have to say, keep it up, man, because this is some fun stuff that you're doing with it, and it's such a cool creative thing that you're also putting together, and I love it. So you got to keep it going.
Yeah, and the same. I'll say the same for you when it comes to your main channel, and then also Peace and Chaos program, because what you were saying to me when I was asking you those questions, that gave me new perspectives on things, because I'm not a guy that follows the political landscape as closely compared to you guys over there. So me asking you those questions, I learned something about Biden's tenure, and then things that Trump did, the pros and cons of both, and it's something that a lot of people really want to hear, because it's just they're watching Tucker Carlson or they're watching Don Lemon, who I called Lemon Boy.
It's a good name.
Yeah, so the same goes for you, to keep it up, and whenever I know it's coming, it's just a matter of when. With your Aceman analysis.
Yeah, that I'm trying to do like monthly content. I'm even thinking about doing like 30-minute streams a week or something like that, just doing like recaps of the top stories in rap. So I might actually start that really soon with StreamYard. So I'll be doing like maybe 20-30 minute recaps of like rap news. It's going to be like quick content, but it's also going to be content where it's like a news show for hip hop. So I'm trying to get into that. And yeah, I've been trying to do the Aceman analysis is going to kind of switch now to like that type of news content, and we're also going to switch to like just analysis videos. We're going to get back into where we started with song analyses. So I'm going to get back into that, do a few songs, song analyses, and yeah, we'll go from there. But that's the whole plan with that. And then Peace and Chaos, get back into the midterms, doing some midterm content, and then Any Given Monday Morning, which is our sports network that my friends and I created. We're going to be getting into NFL and Premier League, and when NBA starts up, that as well. So that's all the content from my end.
Yeah, and I will have a link to all of those in the description. So I feel that this is a way for me to do it, and then we'll at the count of 3 say whatever. But this is what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be turning on the camera for a minute, just pulling my inner Sneako. All right, you guys gotta wake up. Yeah, wake up. If you didn't know what we are trying to get at with this video here today, with this podcast, you cannot be idolizing these celebrities. You cannot be putting people like Sneako on the pedestal. You can't be giving these dudes money. They don't care about you. You gotta wake up, stop being bots, and the real role models should be people in your life.
Thank you, Sneako.
Yeah, but I'm just being I'm joking, but at the same time, I'm being serious about like the role models thing, because
Definitely.
I think a role model. I've been saying this since like I was around like when Sneako was saying all of his stuff, because he was pretty young when he started going to the political landscape of things and being introspective. And I've been saying this since I can remember senior year of high school, maybe even earlier. I think, yeah, junior year. I've been saying that celebrities and people you don't know, they shouldn't be your role models. I mean, if you want to look up to them for whatever they may do. Like if you want to be a rapper and you're looking up to Tupac, for example, then by all means, because that's what you want to be. You want to be a rapper, but to how to conduct yourself as a person, that's just a whole nother thing. It should be people in your life, whoever that may be, whether that's family, whether that's your friends, whether that's a teacher, if you go to school, or somebody that has like a positive influence that can influence you to do positive things in your life.
Yeah.
Not somebody that looks at you as a money opportunity, like a Sneako, that tries to create this illusion that, oh, I'm doing this so you, instead of scrolling, you can monetize it. No, stop the cap. You're just doing it because you want people to be like your little minions, pretty much.
Yeah, people need to become more aware of that, and just surround yourself with positive people. That's probably one of the most important things you can do.
Yep, that are in your life.
That are in your life.
Not somebody from the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or wherever.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, so on the count of 3, we're gonna say whatever to close it out.
Awesome.
1, 2, 3.
Whatever.